Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Poison is infinitely stacked, shocking the school beauty. Chapter 61. Li Zunil looked up and found that it was Li Chen. Li Chen left a good impression on him. He was like an ascetic monk, like a latent dragon, and they felt that they were sympathetic to each other. Li Zunil nodded. Okay, how much are you going to pay? The market estimate is 300,000 to 600,000. Can I pay 500,000? 500,000. We are classmates, okay. But I have to give you the money later. Li Chen's tone seemed a little embarrassed. Li Zunil saw that the other party didn't seem to have much money on hand. But that's not right. He is a swordsman with the heaven-defying holy sword technique. He can kill monsters and get equipment at will. He should not be short of money. Li Zunil was a little confused. You should have enough money, right? I didn't have enough money, but my sister is a vegetable and has been relying on nutrient solution, which is very expensive. I just paid a huge sum of money, so. Li Zunil stared at Li Chen, pondered for a moment, and nodded gently. I believe you won't joke with your sister. Li Zunil gave the sword to Li Chen carelessly, and didn't seem to worry that the other party would not pay back the money. After Li Chen took the sword, he looked at Li Zunil with gratitude. Don't worry, I will pay it back as soon as possible. Don't worry about it, just pay it back when you have it. I don't lack money recently. After saying that, he shook the suitcase in his hand. Li Chen was stunned when he saw the suitcase in Li Zunli's hand. Is there 3 million Sha coins in it? Yes. Li Chen hesitated. Are you really not short of money? Not short of money, Li Zunil answered casually. What a joke, I'm going to sell my equipment soon, and I'm sure I can get a lot of money. Li Chen pulled Zhao Hao away, stood in Zhao Hao's position, looked at Li Zunil earnestly, and said hesitantly. Can you lend me your money for emergency? I'll pay you back within a month. Within a month. Li Zunil was stunned when he heard this, and frowned slightly. Li Chen nodded. Yes, I will go to a mysterious place to make a lot of money. Mainland place to make a lot of money. Wait a minute. After Li Zunil finished speaking, he walked to the front of the crowd. Classmates, Dean Guan said that from now until the unified examination of the university, time is free, everyone needs to contact the society and accept the beating of the society, disband on the spot, everyone retreat. After speaking, he quickly walked towards Li Chen, took his hand and walked to a corner. Do you really need money so much? Yes, my sister is in the hospital, and the daily expenses are 10,000. Li Chen's tone was full of helplessness. Where are your parents? My parents are adventurers. They died in a battle with monsters half a year ago, and their savings were all spent. So, your sister is relying on you alone. Li Zunil didn't expect Li Chen to be so miserable. No wonder he is not active. He is an orphan, but the other party is even more miserable. Not only is he an orphan, but he also has a disabled sister. Yes, Li Chen nodded. He was very emotional. If he hadn't awakened the sword saint profession and went out to kill monsters and make money the next day, I'm afraid his sister would have died long ago. But her daily expenses of 10,000 are still a bit tight for him at the moment. He is not as lucky as Li Zunil, who can encounter the 100-layer magic tower secret realm to swipe equipment for money. Okay, I'll lend you this money for emergency use. I'm not short of money recently. You can pay me back when you have money. Li Zunil handed the suitcase to Li Chen with confidence. This is Li Chen. If it were someone else, he would definitely not lend it out so readily. This thing depends on one's character. In addition, he considered that Li Chen knew the holy sword technique and had a promising future, so he would definitely not be short of this little money in the end. The most important thing was that he was about to sell equipment and would soon be financially free. Li Zunil suddenly asked, by the way, where is the mysterious place you mentioned? The land of divine punishment. The land of divine punishment. What kind of place is that? The land of divine punishment is related to the school's unified examination, and you will know it soon. Quote. Are you still keeping it a secret? Li Zunli's eyes were thoughtful, and it sounded like this place was a bit cruel. Divine punishment. After shaking his head, he put aside his doubts and patted Li Chen on the shoulder. Okay, go and do your thing. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. After that, Li Zunil turned around and left. Li Chen suddenly felt a surge of trust in his heart. He looked at the careless and lazy Li Zunul, and his thoughts were flying. Unexpectedly, the other party simply lent him 3 million. 3 million, almost enough for his sister's nutrient solution for 10 months. Li Chen originally participated in the competition with full confidence, wanting to win the championship and get the money, but in the end after all, I missed it. He shook his head, picked up his suitcase, and rushed to the 9th District Hospital. Li Zunul walked to the corner with his back to everyone, and sent Zhao Hao to call Xia Bingshe and Tan Huan to sell equipment. He felt uncomfortable if he didn't sell the equipment for a day. Soon, Xia Bingshe and Tan Huan were brought to Li Zunul by Zhao Hao. Li Zunul got straight to the point. Let's go, everyone, let's go sell equipment. Zhao Hao suddenly said, Brother, I just heard that the school beauties of Black and White College and Tenglong College are looking for you to go to the second floor competition hall. I will go if they say so. Wouldn't it be embarrassing for me? Li Zunul put his hands in his pockets, not caring. Let's go, sell equipment, do business, ignore them. After that, he stopped a car first, and the 4 of them got in quickly. At this time, Zhao Hao suddenly said, Brother, where is the suitcase with 3 million in it? I lent it to Li Chen. Li Zunul raised his head and closed his eyes to rest. Ah, 3 million, you can lend it to me just like that. Zhao Hao was very surprised. In his opinion, 3 million can definitely buy a nice house, isn't that great? In this city where every inch of land is worth a lot of money, land is extremely expensive. Because the area outside the city has been occupied by monsters for a long time. Even if the monsters are killed, monsters will descend again, so reliable locations are very expensive and rare. Li Zunul said lightly, lend it to him to save his life, he knows the holy sword technique, I believe him. At this time, the Wolong City competitive dungeon was in chaos. Where is Li Zunul, the number 1 jinx in Fengchu College, who saw him? No one saw him. Did he run away? What? Run away? This coward actually ran away. 2 colleges, a total of 1,000 people, waiting for him in the second floor competitive dungeon, he actually ran away. Wu Yangqing and Lin Xiao looked very unhappy. The 2 of them specifically called people to teach Li Zunul a lesson. But he ran away. What the hell? How can people be so shameless? They don't play by the rules at all. Those waiting in the competitive dungeon included Yi Liangchen, Yi Xiao, the holy poison mage Feng Wuqing, and even the holy shadow assassin Qin Wangchuan. In the end, they all waited in vain. Wu Yangqing was very unhappy. Before the unified examination of various universities, it is free time. This girl must find time to teach him a lesson. Lin Xiao also agreed. Next time you find him and tell me, I will not let him go. Humph. Soon, Li Zunul followed Xia Bingshe to her family's equipment store. The mall is very large, and a whole floor seems to belong to a store. There are many salesmen in the mall, and they greet Xia Bingshe immediately when they see her. Hello, Miss Xia. Hello. Xia Bingshe nodded in response, and then shouted excitedly. Brother, I'm here, there's something good, come out quickly. A clear voice came from the mall office. Is it Bingshe? What good news? I brought a noble person, a very noble person. Xia Bingshe turned back lightly and greeted the salespersons on both sides with a smile. Please arrange a quiet room for my 3 friends and serve some tea. Don't neglect them. After that, she turned her head to look at Li Zunul and Tan Huan, and said with a smile. Please sit down for a while. My brother and I will talk about the situation first. Okay. Tan Huan nodded immediately. Li Zunul and the other 2 followed the waiter into a quiet room. He leaned on the sofa and crossed his legs quietly. Zhao Hao also learned to imitate him. He whispered in Li Zunli's ear. Brother, I just made 680,000. Li Zunul looked surprised and raised his eyebrows. What, 680,000? Why didn't you call me for such a good thing? Before Zhao Hao could speak, Tan Huan folded his hands in front of his chest and said with interest. You can't imagine it, we bet on you to win and make a fortune, the odds are 1 to 10. Hearing this, Li Zunul suddenly realized. He slowly stood up and picked up the orange on the coffee table without hesitation. While peeling the oranges, he said, I've said it before, you must bet on me to win in this kind of situation, otherwise you will lose. Zhao Hao also picked up several oranges and nodded repeatedly. Brother is right, I'll bet all my wealth on you without hesitation, and 68,000 will become 680,000. Li Zunul muttered while eating oranges. That's right, you're very smart. Zhao Hao wolfed down the oranges. I heard that fresh fruits are not cheap now, and a lot of fruit fields outside the city are occupied by monsters. Li Zunul rolled his eyes at him, speechless. This guy really takes advantage of everything he sees, even fruits. After a few minutes, Sha Bingshe came into the room with a handsome young man, who was in high spirits and had bright eyes. He looked a bit like Sha Bingshe. Sha Bingshe looked at Li Zunul and the others and spoke first. This is my brother, Sha Chang. After that, she turned her head to look at Sha Chang. Brother, these three are Tan Huan, Li Zunul and Zhao Hao. After both parties nodded to each other, Sha Chang looked at Li Zunul first, his tone full of curiosity. Li Zunul, the first poison milk of Fengshu College, the champion of the 3 colleges competition, so amazing. Li Zunul put down the orange and answered seriously. This is okay. Sha Chang looked at Li Zunul with interest. I heard from Bingshe that you have a lot of equipment here, are you willing to sell it to us? After that, he held his chin with his right hand and observed Li Zunli's reaction. Li Zunul put down his crossed legs and spoke seriously. Yes, there are hundreds of equipment. Sha Chang immediately applauded. Good. You are very welcome. There was a hint of excitement on his face, and his tone was very happy. Is it convenient to take out the things so that we can count them? Here, no, follow me, the warehouse is next to it. Sha Chang was very polite. After a while, Sha Chang looked at the pile of equipment like a small mountain and was very excited. They counted 304 1-star equipment, 256 2-star equipment, 148 3-star equipment, 88 4-star equipment, 25 5-star equipment, and 7 6-star equipment. There are also 156 attribute gems, equipment upgrades, and star upgrade gems. Then after an hour of estimation, Sha Chang looked at Li Zunul with a smile. The value of all the equipment we have assessed here is about 67.8 million. What do you think of this price? Li Zunul raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect it to be worth so much money. At this time, Sha Bingshe seemed to suddenly remember something and immediately spoke. Oh, by the way, there is also a 7-star skill book and 2 5-star equipment, and the cost of upgrading me, which is 80 million. What do you think, Li Zunul? 7-star skill book. Sha Chang was a little uneasy. He had never seen a 7-star thing before. Sha Bingshe chuckled. Brother, I learned the 7-star skill book. The skill is called Nanming Lihuo, which is a mage skill. Since you learned it, it counts. He calculated it slightly and looked at Li Zunul frankly. Okay, then the total is 80 million. Are you satisfied with this price? Li Zunul held his chin with his right hand and thought for a while. 80 million, make do with it. Sha Chang did not hesitate to hear this, so he nodded immediately. Okay, if you have good things in the future, sell them to us, how about it? He nodded gently. Okay, this batch of goods is priced like this, but I remember there seems to be a Sha Chang VIP card. Sha Chang nodded immediately. Yes, Bingshe told me, but this card is only issued after there is a time, we will send it to you when we are done, don't worry. Quote. That's fine. Li Zunul thought about it, it seems that there is nothing missing. After Sha Chang got Li Zunli's bank card number, he directly transferred the money on the spot. Li Zunul saw the balance of the bank card, and couldn't help but smile. 80 million. It feels like a windfall. Finally financial freedom. Even if he has lived 2 lives, looking at this balance, he couldn't help but feel excited. Sha Chang saw Li Zunli's satisfied expression and reminded him. Brother, if you have good equipment in the future, remember to sell it to us. Let's talk about it later. Li Zunul smiled and stood up, looking at Sha Bingshe and Sha Chang. The matter is done, then we will withdraw. Quote. After saying that, he stood up and prepared to leave. Zhao Hao took the opportunity to take a few oranges and followed Li Zunul. Li Zunul saw Zhao Hao's behavior and his mouth twitched. My brother likes to eat oranges very much, sorry for making fun of him. If you like it, take a few more. Sha Chang said politely. Zhao Hao was stunned when he heard it, and then happily touched a few more oranges. Thank you, Boss Sha, no big deal. Walk slowly. Sha Chang smiled. Okay. Li Zunul and Zhao Hao walked out of the mall happily. Zhao Hao followed him. Brother, let's go eat roasted chicken. It's absolutely free. Li Zunul felt something was wrong, but he also reacted. Your mother roasted the chicken. Yes, this is okay. Let's go. Quote. The two stopped a car and rushed to the stall where Zhao Hao's mother sold roasted chicken. Tan Huan stayed behind with Xia Bingshe. Xia Cheng gave Xia Bingshe a thumbs up. Bingshe, you did a great job this time. The quality of this batch of goods is top-notch, with 5-star and 6-star ones. It can be regarded as the treasure of the store. I will tell my dad about your contribution. Quote. Okay, brother. Xia Bingshe smiled happily. Xia Cheng told Xia Bingshe. By the way, this network of relationships must be maintained. Xia Bingshe nodded. Brother, I know this. After Xia Cheng left, Tan Huan slowly whispered in Xia Bingshui's ear. Bingshe, what do you think of Li Zunul? Xia Bingshe was stunned and thought. I think he is very powerful. He should be one of the powerful people who can call the wind and rain in the future. Quote. Tan Huan nodded. I feel that he has changed since he changed his job, just like Li Chen, who was unknown before the job change and soared to the sky after the job change. Xia Bingshe thought. Yes, job change is a turning point in fate for many people. Tan Huan asked curiously. Bingshe, I remember that your Xia family, as one of the top families in Xia country, seems to be participating in the competition for the ruling power of Xia country. Don't you consider recruiting such talents? Xia Bingshe spread her hands. Of course, but I can't make the decision. I have mentioned it to my dad. Not only Li Zunul, but also Li Chen, Lin Yu, Qin Wangchuan and others, they are even looking for top talents in more than 100 other cities. And he will send people to meet them one after another recently. I didn't expect you to move so quickly. That's right. I hope that this year, the Xia family can take the lead. Bingshe, who do you think is the best among the best in Wolong City? Quote. Need I say more? It must be Li Zunul. The night deepened. Li Zunul and Zhao Hao got out of the car and walked slowly on the street. They were walking towards the street stall of Zhao Hao's mother. Vaguely, they saw many more adventurers in this area, and there were some adventurers every few meters. They were fully armed, gathered together and whispered, and no one knew what they were talking about. Even from time to time, some law enforcement teams could be seen. Li Zunul and Zhao Hao felt very strange. Zhao Hao was puzzled. Brother, why are there so many adventurers staying? And people from the law enforcement team? You ask me, how do I know? Is there something big going to happen? Zhao Hao shook his head. But even if there is something, it has nothing to do with a small person like me. Rishan, you have grown up and have self-knowledge. Li Zunul smiled faintly. That's right, Zhao Hao said seriously. Brother, I feel that I can't hold your thigh for long. Li Zunul was casually admiring the neon street scene. He was stunned for 2 seconds when he heard Zhao Hao say this. He turned his head to look at Zhao Hao and asked curiously. What do you mean? I feel that you will soon enter the Super God Academy, and I will definitely not be able to enter, so I decided to start from now on, prepare to fully increase the attribute points labor and rely on myself. Super God Academy. Whether you can enter or not is uncertain. Li Zunul said indifferently. Zhao Hao was a little confused. But the Super God Academy is the academy that everyone dreams of. Only those who graduate from it can get good treatment. Treatment. I went to the wild to kill monsters and get equipment. 80 million in 20 days. Can the treatment be this high? Of course not, but... Zhao Hao hesitated and couldn't explain it. Why think so much? Let's go play PUBG. Li Zunul waved his hand and put his hand on Zhao Hao's shoulder. Okay. Zhao Hao threw away his distracting thoughts and laughed. Li Zunul said casually as he walked. But, Rishan, your idea is good. Brother, what do you think? You can consider adding attribute points to labor. Now your speed is enough. People have to rely on themselves in the end. Yes, I was thinking that I can't rely on you all the time. Rishan, you are growing up very fast. What are you kidding? After all, I have been hanging out with you for a while. Zhao Hao's face was full of pride. Li Zunul looked at Zhao Hao with satisfaction in his eyes. He slowly took out 24-star labor attribute gems and stuffed them into Zhao Hao's pockets. I left some attribute gems unsold, enough for you to use, which can add 400 points of labor. Use them sparingly. Zhao Hao took the gems and was surprised. Li Zunul seemed calm. He and Zhao Hao were the kind of brothers who fooled each other but never really got angry. In the past 3 years, Li Zunul was able to survive, in addition to relying on the snacks enclosed in the confession letters he received. He survived largely by eating Zhao Hao's food. Even though he heard that Zhao Hao's family was not very well off, he also tried to eat with him. Fortunately, the other party didn't care. Therefore, Zhao Hao's position in his heart was not ordinary. So, Li Zunul did not hesitate to split the money from the equipment sold in the Super Ghost copy with Zhao Hao. Soon, Zhao Hao saw his mother's stall, and he rushed to help with great interest. Li Zunul took a closer look. She was a woman in her 40s, with weather-beaten hands and face, and her clothes were very old. In front of her was a mobile barbecue cart with various barbecue ingredients and chickens, ducks, and fish. Zhao Hao said excitedly, "Mom, give me 2 roasted chickens, choose the biggest one, this is my best brother Li Zunul, let's eat roasted chicken." Zhao's mother nodded happily when she saw Zhao Hao. "Son is back, your equipment seems to be unusual." She found that Zhao Hao's equipment was very unusual, very luxurious, and must be worth a lot of money. "This equipment was given to me by my brother, and it is worth at least hundreds of thousands." Zhao Hao laughed. "Ah, hundreds of thousands. How can I be embarrassed?" Zhao's mother was very surprised and a little embarrassed when she heard this. "Mom, my eldest brother is very capable, so powerful that this equipment is nothing to him." Li Zunul stepped forward, put away his rebellious demeanor, and spoke respectfully. "Hello, Auntie, my name is Li Zunul." "Good, hello, you are so handsome." Mother Zhao couldn't help but praise, and then she spoke again. "Hurry up and sit down. I'll roast 2 big chickens for you." "Okay, thank you." Li Zunul rarely put away his playful smile. He didn't expect that Zhao Hao, who had been eating for so long, did not seem to have a well-off family and earned all his money through hard work. And Zhao Hao had been helping him by deceiving his superiors and subordinates, and never really blamed him. He suddenly felt a little guilty. At this time, Zhao's mother said to Zhao Hao, "Son, don't interfere, I'll do it, you go accompany your friends and get 2 bottles of Coke." "Okay, Mom." Zhao Hao immediately took 2 bottles of Coke and walked to Li Zunul. "Brother, don't just stand there, sit down." Li Zunul had just sat down when he found a weathered middle-aged man next to him, staring at him curiously with a smile on his face. The other party also had a stall with a sewing machine. This surprised Li Zunul very much. Zhao Hao noticed Li Zunli's strangeness, followed Li Zunli's gaze, and then suddenly said, "Brother, I almost forgot to introduce him, that's my dad, who does some tailoring work." Li Zunul raised his eyebrows and immediately understood. "Hello, Uncle." "Hello," Zhao's father replied with a smile. Zhao Hao greeted his father. "Dad, I'll bring my good brother to eat a roast chicken." Okay, no problem. Mom, get them 2 big ones." Zhao's mother was busy and answered, "You don't need to tell me, I've already roasted them." After greeting, Li Zunul and Zhao Hao sat on a short stool and chatted. Zhao Hao suddenly thought of those adventurers and asked his mother, "Mom, why are there so many adventurers over there?" "I'm not sure, they've been here for several days." "Oh." Li Zunul looked at Zhao's mother's barbecue stall, then at Zhao's father's sewing machine, and finally looked at Zhao Hao. "You said last time that you were going to buy a house, how much money would you need?" "I haven't asked yet, it's estimated to be at least 2 million, but I've already earned the down payment, all because of you, brother, ha ha ha." Zhao Hao was very happy. 2 million, Li Zunul whispered softly. "How many rooms and living rooms can you buy with 2 million? 2 rooms and 2 living rooms. How much does a 3-bedroom apartment cost?" "It's estimated to be at least 3 million. It's too expensive. I won't consider it." Li Zunul was very surprised. "What will you do when you get married and have children?" "We'll talk about it when the time comes. Living is tiring enough, and getting married." Zhao Hao shook his head and didn't think that far. Li Zunul quickly took out his mobile phone and operated it for a while, then put it down and looked at Zhao Hao mysteriously. "Shit, check your WeChat." Zhao Hao immediately took out his mobile phone to check it. In an instant, his pupils became larger and his breathing became rapid. Brother, this. He actually saw Li Zunul transferring money to him. 5 million. He was stunned and at a loss. Li Zunul took his phone and calmly clicked to receive the transfer. Then, he returned Zhao Hao's phone to him and said calmly, I said I would make up for what I owe you sooner or later. It's not morning now, but it's evening. Brother, you. Zhao Hao hesitated. He immediately used his mobile phone to transfer the money back, and said while doing so, Brother, although I like to take advantage of small things, I can't take advantage of big things. I can't accept this. Li Zunul stared at the roasted chicken on the barbecue cart with interest, which was marked at 68 yuan per piece. His mouth twitched slightly. If I remember correctly, Zhao Hao said 88 yuan per piece before. This guy really keeps taking advantage of small things. However, Li Zunul didn't care at all now. He said casually, Yes, you really like to take advantage of small things. This time I will let you take advantage of a big one. How about it? After Zhao Hao transferred the money, he was ready to grab Li Zunli's mobile phone to receive it. Unexpectedly, Li Zunul had already prepared and didn't give him a chance to snatch it and returned the transfer money. Li Zunul looked at Zhao Hao meaningfully. Use this money to buy a bigger house, so you don't have to worry about getting married and having children in the future. Zhao Hao stared blankly at the extra 5 million yuan in the balance for a long time. This is like winning 5 million yuan in the lottery. Zhao Hao looked at Li Zunul seriously. Brother, I will. Okay, stop it, don't say anything mushy, hold it in your heart. Li Zunul immediately stopped Zhao Hao, as if he guessed that he would say some earthy nonsense. Okay. Zhao Hao touched his head awkwardly. Soon, the two of them started eating roast chicken. The roast chicken was very fragrant, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, golden and crispy, with seasoning, a bite, crispy, directly into the soul. After eating the roast chicken, Li Zunul took a taxi directly back to the dormitory of Fengshu College. He had been living in the dormitory before, and he decided to go back again. He couldn't live in this college dormitory for too long, so he planned to go back and experience it for the last time. After all, he was rich now, and he could choose to live outside at any time in the future. And Zhao Hao, seeing that his mother was very hardworking, decided to stay here temporarily to help her with barbecue and help out. After Li Zunul left, Zhao Hao pulled his father and mother together and said mysteriously, Dad, Mom, just now my brother transferred 5 million to me. What, 5 million? We haven't earned that much in most of our lives. Zhao's father and mother immediately became uneasy when they heard this. Son, you can't take this money. Yes, son, although we are poor, we really can't take this money. Zhao Hao said helplessly. I said at the time that I would transfer it back to him, but he didn't want it. He asked me to buy a bigger house and said that I wouldn't have to worry about having children in the future. Zhao's father and mother's eyes suddenly became complicated. Son, your brother is really reliable. That's right, he helped you more than your father and mother this time. After saying that, Zhao's father and mother looked at the direction where Li Zunul left, and they couldn't let it go for a long time. My eldest brother is a very powerful person, very, very powerful. Zhao Hao said proudly to his mother and father. Time passed quickly. In a blink of an eye, it was 10 o'clock in the evening. Li Zunul was lying on the simple dormitory bed, holding his mobile phone and browsing the news. There was still the aroma of roasted chicken in his mouth. It made him linger. Suddenly, his cell phone vibrated, and he saw that it was Zhao Hao's call. He answered the call without hesitation. Before he could speak, a crying voice came from the phone. Son, wake up. In addition, there were some cursing sounds on the phone. The other party found that the call was connected and immediately cried. Zhao Hao's elder brother said, you are very powerful, can you save him? He is dying. Li Zunul immediately recognized that it was Zhao's mother's voice. Dying. Li Zunul was very surprised. Wasn't this guy still fine just now? He asked hurriedly. What happened to him? Where is he? His elder brother, Zhao Hao, is dying. While you were eating roasted chicken, he was robbed of his equipment by those adventurers and beaten half to death by them. Zhao's mother's voice was sobbing non-stop. Li Zunul jumped up from the bed immediately, got up in a hurry, and rushed out. It is impossible to die. He has the resurrection skill, so it will only take him 20 minutes to get there by taxi. As long as the death is within an hour, he can use that Nirvana resurrection skill to revive the opponent. He did not stop for a minute and hurried to hail a taxi. Li Zunul looked serious. What he was surprised about was that Zhao Hao was very fast. If he couldn't beat him, he could always run away, right? Unless, his thoughts were flying. Looking at the brightly lit street scene outside the window flying backwards, he had no intention of appreciating it at all. Did the adventurer fancy Zhao Hao's equipment? Stealing equipment? He was puzzled, quite puzzled. Because he remembered that there was a law enforcement team over there. Would they just stand by and watch? The law enforcement team should be very strict about such things. Otherwise, wouldn't this huge Wolong city have been in chaos long ago? Soon, Li Zunul came to the place where he had eaten roast chicken before. Wolong City, District 9, 9th Street, Night Market Street. As soon as he got off the car, he saw a group of people surrounding the roast chicken stall, tightly packed and unable to get through. With a gloomy face, he quickly walked forward and struggled to squeeze through the crowd. His voice was a little unhappy. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Rushing into the crowd, he saw that Zhao Hao's face was already bloody and unconscious. Zhao's father and mother threw themselves on him, crying hysterically. Li Zunul was immediately furious. His voice was loud and slightly angry. Who the hell did it? A gloomy middle-aged man slowly stood up, with a scar on his face and a smell of alcohol. He looked at Li Zunul drunkenly, his eyes full of disdain. Hey, you called a student like this? His equipment seems to be very good, take it. Li Zunul looked at the other party, his eyes like a knife. Did you do it? He said in a deep tone, sounding very unhappy. Yes, I did it. The other party said contemptuously, and seemed to care nothing about what happened just now. There will be monsters coming to this 9th district soon. As adventurers guarding this place, it is reasonable for us to borrow 2 pieces of equipment, right? He looked at Li Zunul with a vague and contemptuous look. Lend us your equipment too. After that, he signaled the 4 adventurers behind him to attack Li Zunul directly. Li Zunul turned a blind eye and asked in doubt. Aren't you afraid of the law enforcement team? Them, haha, young man, you are too young. The drunk man with scars was full of sarcasm. Li Zunli's face suddenly became gloomy. Young, then I will do what young people should do. Li Zunul took out his staff and waved it gently. 4 balls of green light shot out instantly. They hit the adventurers who were about to attack him. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. After the green light flashed, the 4 adventurers instantly lay on the ground, completely dead. Dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. No one dared to speak. Li Zunul looked at the 4 bodies on the ground. He felt no pain or guilt. The 4 people seemed to be sleeping on the ground. And the drunk man with scars seemed to be completely drunk. He woke up with a start. He stared at Li Zunul with eyes wide open, unable to believe. You killed 4 adventurers with semi-law enforcement identities. 4, no, 5. If you mess with me, I will kill not only adventurers but also law enforcement officers. What? You dare to kill a law enforcer? The drunk man with scars was no longer drunk. He stared at Li Zunul in disbelief, his expression a little nervous. Where are you from? Li Zunul ignored the scarred man and waved his staff. A green light hit him. Within 100 seconds, hand over the stolen equipment and tell me your background. His cold eyes like ice knives made the other party tremble. Then, he retracted his gaze. He slowly bent down and touched Zhao Hao's breath, and found that Zhao Hao had completely lost his life. His brother was killed. Li Zunli's face was deep, and his murderous intent rose again. He hadn't expected that such a thing would happen so suddenly. On the side, Zhao's father and Zhao's mother burst into tears. Li Zunli's face turned cold, and he waved his staff, and another green light hit the scarred man. Your life is less than 50 seconds. After saying that, he waved his staff lightly, and a fist-sized mysterious white light emerged from his staff. As he pointed his staff, the mysterious white light covered Zhao Hao. On the other side, the scarred man found that his health was constantly dropping, and he panicked. He couldn't stop bleeding no matter what he did. He immediately turned out all the equipment he had taken from Zhao Hao and put them on the ground. Then he looked at Li Zunul quietly, as if waiting for his judgment. It's not that he didn't want to resist, but he just saw the other party kill his 4 companions in seconds, so he didn't dare to resist. That was a kill in seconds. This was the first time he had seen such a weird way of killing. Killing without blood. The other party could also kill him in seconds. As an adventurer who has been licking blood on the tip of a knife for many years, he knew very well what to do to save his life. But this time, he was wrong. Li Zunul had no intention of letting him go. Soon, Zhao Hao on the ground woke up slowly, his eyes were confused. Li Zunul waved his staff again, and wind of resurgence continued to blow Zhao Hao. Seeing him slowly wake up, Li Zunul used divine protection to add a layer of golden protective light to him. Son, are you awake? Zhao Dad and Zhao Dad rubbed their tearful eyes, and when they saw Zhao Hao wake up, they hugged him in their arms. They hugged him tightly, fearing that if they let go, it would be forever. Dad, Mom, hey, why are you here, big brother? After Zhao Hao woke up, he looked around and found Li Zunul, and his tone was very surprised. Son, you said your big brother is very powerful, so I called him to help. After Zhao Ma finished speaking, her face turned red, a little embarrassed. Mom, how can you do this? What if you get your big brother involved? Ah, Zhao Ma lowered her head in a panic. Li Zunul didn't care. Rishan, don't talk about auntie, it's nothing, just find me. At this time, more and more people gathered around to watch. They were shocked to see Li Zunul use a mysterious white light to revive Zhao Hao, who had lost his life. How could this happen? Resurrection. Is he a powerful priest? But in this era, few people choose priests, right? If he was a priest, how could he have killed 4 adventurers who were half law enforcement in seconds? Puzzling. Quite puzzling. At the same time, adventurers kept coming over to watch the fun. Li Zunul saw that Zhao Hao was not in danger, and immediately asked. Rishan, what happened just now? Just now, several adventurers came to eat roast chicken, but they didn't want to pay for it. I definitely didn't agree, and then they found out that my equipment was very good and attacked me. But you are very fast, so it should be no problem for you to escape. Brother, my father and mother are still here. What will they do if I escape? They just threatened my parents. Li Zunul heard this, and there was no surprise in his eyes. Sure enough, he guessed right. He had guessed before that this guy must have been holding his parents back, so he surrendered. He knew very well that ordinary people couldn't keep up with Zhao Hao's speed. This world, starting from level 40, people who change their jobs basically begin to experience real training and beating in society. Level 40 is also the basic threshold for the Adventure Guild to recruit people. Adventurers in society are generally between levels 40 to 70. And Zhao Hao is level 43, which has reached the conditions for social training, and his equipment is very good, plus all the physical bonus. Many people can't keep up with his speed. Li Zunul nodded and said to Zhao Hao, put on those equipment quickly, and then go home quickly. Zhao Hao immediately put on his equipment and looked at the 4 lifeless bodies of adventurers lying on the ground. He was stunned. Brother, did you kill someone? Kill him if you want. Li Zunli's tone was calm. After all, he has lived 2 lives, and his mentality is not like that of a young man like Zhao Hao. At this time, the scarred man stared at Li Zunul in panic and spoke hastily. My blood volume is about to run out, save me. Li Zunul said coldly, there is no hope. As soon as the voice fell, the scarred man fell straight down, as if he was asleep. 5 corpses, lying on the ground. This scene made many people exclaim. At this time, Li Zunul pulled Zhao Hao's arm and solemnly told him. Hurry, go back, I will handle the things here, believe me. Zhao Hao insisted on not leaving. But under the strong pull of Zhao's father and mother, the 3 of them left in a hurry. They didn't even take the things on the stall. Li Zunul quietly waited for the arrival of the law enforcement team without any panic. He even bought a few boxes of chewing gum nearby and chewed slowly. He didn't leave because he was worried that if he left, the law enforcement team would find Zhao Hao's family of 3. He wanted to deal with this matter in the end, and Zhao Hao and his family would have to rely on themselves in the future. People always have to learn to grow up. At this time, an adventurer suddenly walked out of the crowd and looked at Li Zunul carefully. Are you Zhao Rishan? Li Zunul was stunned when he heard this. This title was what he called Zhao Hao. How could it be? He looked up at the other person and felt a little familiar. The other person immediately spoke. It's me, Qin Chuan, a 5-star 1,000-year-old tree spirit. You saved us. Li Zunul recalled that he had saved several people in the field trial, and the leader seemed to be called Qin Chuan. I didn't expect to meet him here. He remembered that the other person was a member of the Life and Death Adventure team. The name he left for the other person at that time was Zhao Rishan. Qin Chuan, Qin Wangchuan. Li Zunul felt that these two names looked a little similar. He suppressed his doubts and nodded to him. Hello, what's up? Qin Chuan pulled Li Zunul aside and whispered in his ear. Did you kill these 5 people? Yes, I did. That might be troublesome. These 5 are adventurers with half law enforcement identities. In short, they are the minions of the law enforcers. They have the support of the law enforcers behind them. I guess you will be in trouble. Li Zunul smiled faintly, as if he didn't care at all. I'm not afraid of the enemy. Brother, you saved my life before, I have always remembered it in my heart. Don't worry, I can contact my father, he is also a law enforcer, and I will help you when the time comes. Your father? Yes, my father, Qin Tian. Li Zunul was thoughtful. Qin Tian, but your name, I always feel that it is somewhat related to someone's name. Who? Qin Wangchuan. Him, how do you know him? Really related. Li Zunul heard the implication. He is my half-brother. Oh, there is this inside story. Li Zunul looked at him with interest and took out a piece of chewing gum. Would you like one? Qin Chuan was surprised to see Li Zunli's calm expression. You still have the mind to chew gum. Do you know how troublesome it is to kill someone in this city? Trouble? What kind of trouble? Li Zunul muttered softly, and when he saw that Qin Chuan did not chew the gum, he slowly put it back in his pocket. Qin Chuan pondered for a moment and said, let me briefly explain the situation. I heard that there may be game monsters coming to the 9th district recently. I heard that it is related to luck. Of course, I don't know the details. He paused and continued, so a large number of adventurers were sent here to prevent and guard until the crisis is resolved. So these adventurers are considered to be semi-law enforcement. It's just that some people will take the opportunity to make trouble. It's common. Li Zunul suddenly understood and said angrily. But they killed my brother. Killed your brother? Where is your brother? I saved him. Save him. Qin Chuan looked surprised. Do you have the resurrection technique? Yes. Li Zunul did not hide it. If that's the case, maybe we can get by with it. After all, nurses with resurrection skills are very popular. Li Zunul said calmly. It's a piece of cake, don't worry. Qin Chuan saw that Li Zunul didn't seem to be in a hurry at all, and couldn't help asking. Do you have a backer? Li Zunul thought for a moment and shook his head. Are you rich? Can you settle the matter peacefully? Li Zunul hesitated and shook his head. Money. Is he rich? He didn't know. Maybe he was rich for ordinary people, but not for rich people. But he didn't plan to solve it with money. Then why are you so calm? Qin Chuan was very surprised. This young man was very different from what he imagined. He was only about 17 or 18 years old, but he was so calm when facing murder. Because he knew how troublesome it would be if he was targeted by the law enforcement team. It was almost impossible to gain a foothold in the city. It's very simple, because I have a tough life. Li Zunul said a few words half-jokingly, as if they were as heavy as 1,000 pounds, echoing in Qin Chuan's ears. Tough life. Qin Chuan was in doubt. How tough could it be? At this time, a sudden noise came from outside the crowd. Get out of the way, who is making trouble here? The people around immediately made way for a passage and talked about it. The law enforcement team is here. This boy is in trouble. It's not easy to be arrested. Yes, the law enforcement team is very cruel, and ordinary people can't stand it. Quote. The 3 law enforcement team members were wearing black uniforms with a white circular pattern on the uniforms, and the pattern was a golden sword and shield. Sword and shield represents the identity of the law enforcers of Sha country. The leader of the law enforcement team had a square face and bright eyes. He looked at the bodies of the 5 adventurers on the ground and his face sank. He looked around and asked in a low voice, who did it? Li Zunul folded his hands in front of his chest, chewing gum, and answered. I did it. The other party saw Li Zunli's calm expression and couldn't help wondering. Could this guy have some powerful backers? He looked at Li Zunil with doubtful eyes and found that his equipment seemed very good. He guessed that the other party was probably a person with a backer. So, he slowed down his tone. My name is Tang Long, the captain of the 5th Law Enforcement Team of the 9th District of Wulong City. Please show me your ID. Li Zunil searched around and finally found his ID card and handed it to him. Tang Long took the ID card and looked at it, with suspicion on his face. Li Zunil, 18 years old, he thought for a while, and it seemed that there was no big shot with the surname Li. But he still didn't dare to take it lightly. After taking a photo of Li Zunli's ID card, he held it in his hand. Li Zunil, what's your job? Student. Which college? Fengchu College. Li Zunil answered fluently. Tang Long was startled when he heard this. Fengchu College. His brother Tang Xiaosan was also in Fengchu College. He felt that the name Li Zunil seemed very familiar. He suppressed the doubts in his heart and got back to the point. Why did you kill these 5 adventurers? They killed my brother. Where is your brother's body? I resurrected him. I asked them to go back. Resurrected. Tang Long showed a hint of surprise in his eyes at this time. He held his chin with his right hand and looked at Li Zunil carefully again, feeling a little unconvinced. Resurrection. He could actually be resurrected. Although the legend does have some awesome skills that can be done, but they are all very advanced. And generally only priests can learn them. The priest profession has been declining for many years, and no one is willing to choose it. His tone was very uncertain. Are you sure you killed and resurrected? Yes. What profession did you change to? Priest. Hearing this, Tang Long's eyes suddenly lit up and he immediately asked. Li Zunil, are you the #1 poison milk in Fengchu College? This time, it was Li Zunli's turn to be surprised. He didn't expect that the other party actually knew a little about him. He said quietly, they do call me that. Tang Long raised his eyebrows, meaningfully. My brother Tang Xiaosan is in Fengchu College. You may know him. I heard him mention you. Li Zunil suddenly realized and nodded gently. I know him. Based on the information he learned, Tang Long asked Li Zunil. I heard that you are a top talent in Fengchu College. Li Zunil did not answer, but pursed his lips and remained silent. Tang Long looked solemn and said in a low voice. Although I know you are a talent, you killed 5 people. This matter may not be so kind. Suddenly, he changed his tone and said mysteriously. But you are lucky and have the resurrection skill. Li Zunil chewed gum in his mouth and seemed not panicked at all. But he secretly said in his heart. You don't do it, that's your good luck. He put his hands in his pockets and waited quietly for Tang Long's next words. Tang Long whispered in Li Zunli's ear. There is someone who urgently needs the resurrection skill. He happens to be in charge of this matter. You can rest assured. Tang Long patted Li Zunli's shoulder and continued. He can make this matter small and big. Li Zunil said casually. You mean, he really needs the resurrection skill, so he wants to see me, right? Tang Long heard Li Zunli's question and laughed. That's right. He really needs the resurrection skill. It is very important to him. He does not only do it for himself, but also for the people here. What are the benefits? The benefit is that you can walk sideways in the 9th district. Tang Long saw Li Zunil in deep thought, and he spoke again. Not only can you walk sideways in the 9th district, but your brothers can also walk sideways, and they will not be troubled by others. Li Zunil was slightly moved when he heard this. Walk sideways. He can walk sideways. But Zhao Hao's parents' business might be better with some care. Just as he was thinking, a cold voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding, you have a system task to receive. Huh, has this system daddy not given me any benefits for a long time? Is he holding back a big move? He immediately checked the tasks. 1. Agree to meet the other party. Completion reward. Get skill book, holy teleport. God level. 2. Refuse to meet the other party. Completion reward. Get skill book, 5 seconds of real manliness. God level. Holy teleport, 5 seconds of real manliness. And they are all God level. Sure enough, he is holding back a big move. Very tangled. I am already immortal, and 5 seconds of invincibility is not very meaningful, but teleportation seems to be very useful. You said you don't want the god-level skills, it's a pity. For more teleportation skills, he decided to meet this person. He said indifferently, let's go and meet the person you mentioned. As soon as the words fell, he heard a voice in his mind. Ding! Congratulations on getting the skill book, Holy Teleport. He immediately checked Holy Teleport. Skill name, Holy Teleport. Professional requirement, Priest. Level requirement, Unlimited. Skill effect, Passive. Holy state immune to all control skills active. Teleport can complete teleportation within level 10 meters. Skill CD is 1 second. Skill level, God level. Nice. He raised the corners of his mouth exaggeratedly, and learned the skill with his backhand. If he plays like this, he will definitely have to add wisdom in the future, and the milk will be sufficient. Hexagonal poison milk will have no shortcomings. At this time, suddenly, Qin Chuan rushed out from the side, stepped forward quickly, and whispered in Tang Long's ear. Hello, brother. Although this little brother committed a crime, he is my savior and my brother. My father is Qin Tian, who is also a member of your law enforcement team. Tang Long was stunned when he heard this, and looked at Qin Chuan carefully. Qin Tian, what's your name? Tang Long was a little surprised. Others didn't know, but he did. Qin Tian is the deputy director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th District of Wulong City, and has more power than the captain of his law enforcement team. My name is Qin Chuan, his son. But I remember that his son is called Qin Wangchuan. That's my brother. Qin Chuan's tone was a little unnatural. Tang Long looked at Qin Chuan thoughtfully and patted him on the shoulder. Okay, I know, this guy is very capable. I'm not here to deal with him, but to introduce him to someone. Ah, is that so? Qin Chuan was a little surprised. He knew that the person he was talking about should not be an ordinary person. It's just that he couldn't hear the whispers between Tang Long and Li Zunul just now. So when he heard Tang Long say that, he looked at the two of them in surprise. Finally, he looked at Li Zunli's face doubtfully. As if to confirm, Li Zunul smiled faintly. Thank you, brother. Don't worry, I'm fine. Besides, my real name is Li Zunul. Li Zunul, Qin Chuan whispered softly. He looked at Li Zunul and Tang Long and others driving away quickly, with a trace of worry on his face. Not long, Zhao Hao, who was pulled away by Zhao's father and mother, rushed back in a hurry. But he found that the crowd had slowly dispersed. The 5 bodies had also been disposed of and disappeared. Zhao Hao searched for Li Zunul for a long time but couldn't find him. He was very anxious. He pulled people's hands and asked, where did that student go? Where did that guy who was about my age go? Quote. Qin Chuan looked at the anxious Zhao Hao and couldn't help but speak. Hey, are you asking about Li Zunul? Yes. Do you know him? Qin Chuan nodded, patted the dust on his body, and looked at Zhao Hao in surprise. I know, you seem to be his brother, right? I saw you when you destroyed the 5-star 1,000-year-old tree spirit. There were 2 beautiful women at that time. Yes, it was me. Where did Li Zunul go? Zhao Hao asked anxiously. He recalled while asking, and after Qin Chuan reminded him, he remembered Qin Chuan. At that time, he was entangled by the tree spirit, and he remembered it very clearly. Li Zunul left with the law enforcement team. The man seemed to be called Tang Long, but he said he was fine. Tang Long took him to meet someone. Qin Chuan explained. Who did you meet? Zhao Hao didn't quite understand. I guess he was a big shot. Qin Chuan pulled the corner of his mouth. Zhao Hao's eyes kept turning when he heard it. Did he really say that? Yes. Zhao Hao stared at Qin Chuan thoughtfully. How true do you think his words are? 5 points true, 5 points false. Brother, what you said is the same as if you didn't say anything. Zhao Hao was so depressed that his face was full of worry. Qin Chuan comforted him. It's useless for you to be anxious. I think you should stay here. After that, Qin Chuan turned around, picked up the phone and dialed the number he hadn't called for many years. The name on it was marked as a heartless old man. Beep, beep, beep. Finally, the call was connected. Dashwan, why did you suddenly remember to call me? A deep voice came from the phone, which sounded pleasantly surprised and unexpected. Qin Chuan heard this familiar yet strange voice. I have a friend who committed a crime. His name is Li Zunil, and he was taken away by Tang Long. Can you help me find out about the situation? Your friend. What friend? The friend who saved my life. Li Zunil, save your life. The other party's tone suddenly became heavier. Yes. Okay, I'll ask for you. Are you and your mother okay? The other party suddenly said. That's it, it's okay. Dashwan, how about I transfer some money to you? No need, your money should be used to train your Xiaochuan. I'd be very grateful if you can ask about Li Zunil for me. Qin Chuan's voice seemed to carry a trace of pain. What's the thank you or not between father and son? Okay, that's it, I won't say it anymore, my mother will definitely blame me if she knows. After saying that, Qin Chuan hung up the phone. On the other end of the phone, a 50-year-old gray-haired man stared at the floor in a daze, with a melancholy tone. After so many years, she still hasn't forgiven me. His name is Qin Tian, and he is the deputy director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th District of Wolong City. He is also the biological father of Shadow Saint assassin Qin Wangchuan and adventurer Qin Chuan, with the same father and half-mother. Qin Chuan hung up the phone and sighed deeply. If it wasn't for Li Zunil saving him, he would never have contacted Qin Tian. Because although Qin Tian was his father, he had abandoned his wife and children and married the daughter of a wealthy businessman. And he was only 4 years old at the time. In fact, he and his mother hated him very much. Especially his mother, who repeatedly told him not to look for his father. He walked to a cold noodle stall with a lonely look. Boss, give me a bowl of cold noodles and a bowl of mashed potatoes, thank you. Li Zunil sat in the car leisurely, and didn't seem to worry about what he would face next. He was analyzing his sacred teleport skill. Tang Long looked at his calm expression with a side head, a little surprised. You seem calm. What else? Li Zunil took out his mobile phone to play nonchalantly. By the way, Tang Xiaosan seems to be participating in the competition among the 3 major colleges today. I don't know the result yet. Which college won? Our Fengchu College won. Really? Who from Fengchu College defended to the end? Me. You. Tang Long's face was very interesting, full of disbelief. Don't joke, was it Li Chen or Lin Yu? I heard from Tang Xiaosan that these two are very powerful. I said, it was me, the two of them didn't defend to the end. Really you? But you are a nanny. Tang Long obviously didn't believe it. What's wrong with the nanny? Do you underestimate the nanny? Li Zunil answered casually while browsing the news. I remember that the nanny didn't hurt much. Otherwise, who do you think killed those 5 adventurers? When Li Zunil spoke, his face didn't change and his heart didn't beat, as if it was as common as drinking water. That's true. It seems that Tang Xiaosan said that you can poison. Thinking of this, Tang Long suddenly became a little wary of Li Zunil. Since this kid can poison, if he doesn't cooperate with him, will he also be poisoned? Thinking of this, to be honest, he was a little scared. He was not afraid of PK with others head-on, but he was really afraid of this kind of strange skill. His brother had a mental chain skill that could control other people's thinking, which was very weird. At this time, Li Zunil suddenly asked curiously. I heard that there might be a monster invasion in the 9th district. Why? Tang Long seemed a little surprised when he heard this. Who did you hear that from? Qin Chuan. Him. Tang Long nodded thoughtfully. He's right. The luck crystal in the 9th district is about to run out recently, so we need to send adventurers to prevent it. Monsters may suddenly descend on the 9th district at any time. Another luck crystal. Li Zunil put down his phone, held his chin with his right hand, and fell into deep thought. He had heard others mention luck crystal several times, which made him curious about luck crystal. Again, have you heard anyone mention it before? Tang Long obviously heard some other information from Li Zunli's tone. Not long ago, Mayor Zhu Tianming told me that he asked me to go to the Super God Academy in the future and try to get some luck crystal for Wolong City. What? You know Mayor Zhu Tianming? Tang Long's eyes kept turning. He didn't expect that the student in front of him could deal with the mayor of Wolong City. He couldn't help but reweigh Li Zunli's background and identity. If what he said was true, and he won the 3 major college competitions, then he did have a chance to get close to Zhu Tianming. This young man, his future seems limitless. Can't offend him. His fingers tapped his thighs lightly, and his brain worked quickly. We met once, Li Zunul said casually. After all, he didn't think it was something worth bragging about. Tang Long's eyes showed thought, and his tone was full of expectations. If you can really enter the Super God Academy, then you may be the pride of Fengchu Academy in Wolong City. After that, Tang Long took out a box of cigarettes from his pocket, took out 2, and handed one to Li Zunul. Do you smoke? No, Li Zunul refused without hesitation. Before crossing over, he smoked once when he was in elementary school, and he choked. Since then, he has no good feelings about smoking. Tang Long looked at Li Zunul with a smile, but did not speak. He lit the cigarette in his mouth, took a deep breath, and spit it out the window. Suddenly, his phone rang. He held the cigarette in his left hand, stretched out the window to shake off the ash, and took out the phone with his right hand to answer it. Xiaopeng, what's the situation? Brother Long, the identities and backgrounds of the 5 dead adventurers are not big, but one of them is a bit troublesome. What background? The dead is called Lin Hu, the cousin of Lin Lei, Deputy Director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 3rd District of Wolong City. Lin Lei, Deputy Director of the Law Enforcement Bureau. This is... Tang Long's tone was slightly worried. Then, he coughed lightly. Okay, Xiaopeng, I know, the others don't have any background, right? No, okay, that's it, hang up first. After Tang Long finished speaking, he hung up the phone. He put the cigarette in his left hand in his mouth and took a puff again, and he half squinted his eyes, as if to avoid the smoke of the cigarette. He was constantly thinking in his mind. Lin Lei, Deputy Director of the 3rd District Law Enforcement Bureau, is not a simple person. Any Deputy Director or Director of the Law Enforcement Bureau is not someone that Tang Long, a law enforcement captain, can mess with. And the Lin family represents a top family, just like the Shaw family. Then, he looked at Li Zunul, who was playing with his mobile phone seriously. If Director Wang hadn't been kind to me and had been telling me to find someone with resurrection skills, I wouldn't have gotten involved in this muddy water. Li Zunul suddenly stopped swiping his mobile phone and curiously turned his head to look at Tang Long, who had a serious expression. What? A bit difficult. It's really a bit tricky when it comes to the Deputy Director of the Law Enforcement Bureau. Tang Long's hand suddenly trembled, and he found that his fingers were burned by the cigarette that burned to the end. Li Zunul laughed and didn't care. It seems a bit hot. Yes, a little. Otherwise, forget it, I can still face it myself. Li Zunul looked out the window nonchalantly. Forget it. How do you face it? Tang Long stared at Li Zunul curiously. It's very simple. Kill gods if gods come, and kill demons if demons come. Li Zunli's young face showed rare maturity. This sentence made Tang Long's back chill. After a moment of silence, he held his chin and stared at Li Zunul thoughtfully. The information shows that you are an orphan. It is indeed possible to do this, but if you have ties, it is not appropriate to do this. For example, the brother you care about, can you protect him for life? Quote. Li Zunli's eyes showed thinking when he heard this. This is not possible. There will always be a time to separate. Tang Long continued. Just knowing how to fight is not enough. If you want to get involved, you need to have a background. Unless you have no relatives or friends, can you do it? Li Zunul thought for a moment. He was indeed alone, but Zhao Hao was his brother. He had been with him for several years. Logically speaking, he couldn't just sit back and watch the other party get into trouble. After all, the other party had helped him for several years, and it would be unkind to sit back and watch. However, the Lin family must have more weaknesses than himself, no doubt. Tang Long saw Li Zunul silent. So he continued. You know, without a network of relationships, if someone secretly makes small moves, such as hiring a few adventurer killers to wipe out your brother's family, and then kill a few killers to silence them, who would you go to? Li Zunul didn't care, he could challenge anyone. This was not the reason he came, the god-level skills given by the system were. Soon, Tang Long took Li Zunul out of the car and walked to a brightly lit building, the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th District of Wolong City. Li Zunul followed Tang Long to an office on the 2nd floor. Dong dong dong. Tang Long knocked on the door. Come in. A low voice came from inside the room. Tang Long gently opened the door and took Li Zunul into the office. A middle-aged man in his 40s with short hair sat in an office chair with a worried look on his face, closing his eyes to rest. He seemed to be worried about something. His name is Wang Hong, the director of the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau, and a level 82 swordsman. Tang Long got straight to the point. Director Wang, I found the person you want for you. Wang Hong suddenly opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. He first looked at Tang Long, and then at Li Zunil. Tang Long, have you found him? I found him. His name is Li Zunil, the first poison milk of Fengshu College, and the first person in the competition of the 3 major colleges. Tang Long briefly introduced Li Zunli's identity. The first poison milk, the first person in the competition of the 3 major colleges. There was a hint of surprise in Wang Hong's eyes, and he obviously didn't understand this extremely strange identity. Tang Long continued, it's just that he has done something wrong and needs your help to deal with it. What is it? He killed 5 adventurers with semi-law enforcement identities in the city, one of whom is the cousin of Lin Lei, deputy director of the 3rd District Law Enforcement Bureau, named Lin Hu. Lin Lei. Wang Hong frowned and hesitated. He can indeed handle it, but there is a little risk. The status of the 3rd District is different from that of the 9th District. The 3rd District is higher than the 9th District. Lin Lei's network of relationships must be very strong, so for him, it is really risky. What's more, the Lin family is a top family. The top family forces are spread across more than 100 cities, and they are intertwined and very difficult to deal with. A cunning rabbit has 3 burrows, and the top families have at least 100 burrows. If you provoke them, it is really difficult to clean them up, and they may do something to you at any time. Wang Hong looked at Li Zunil thoughtfully. Do you really know the resurrection skill? Yes, but there are limitations. It can only be used once within 24 hours, the target must have died no more than 1 hour ago, and only one target can be resurrected. If that's the case, I think I'm willing to take the risk. Wang Hong leaned back in the chair, his eyes moving. Li Zunil spoke casually. Excuse me, what do you want the resurrection skill for? To protect someone. Who to protect? My nephew Wang Hao is a hidden profession, Dragon Knight. I know, he's my classmate, does he need me to protect him? Yes, because he's going to contract a dragon pet soon. Oh, dragon pet. Li Zunil was very surprised. He knew that Wang Hao was a hidden professional Dragon Knight, but he had never had a dragon, so he was very weak at present, just a little stronger than ordinary knights. But once he got a dragon, there would be earth-shaking changes. I am afraid that he would not be afraid of Lin Yu's swallowing python. Is he, the Dragon Knight, about to take off? Wang Hong stood up slowly and said solemnly. We have found the whereabouts of the dragon pet, but it is very dangerous to contract a dragon pet, so we are looking for someone who can resurrect the skill, just in case. Li Zunil nodded. I understand. Wang Hong seemed to suddenly remember something. By the way, I just introduced you as a student of Fengshu College. Yes. Li Zunil nodded casually. Li Zunil didn't care much about these dignitaries. After all, he was really invincible. It's really surprising. You are a nanny and a student, but you actually have the resurrection skill. Wang Hong's tone was full of curiosity. His rich experience told him that this young man must have a secret, a big secret. Lucky, Li Zunil said carelessly. We have been looking for someone with the resurrection skill for a long time, but we haven't found one. How many stars is your resurrection skill? 7 stars. Sure enough, as far as I know, the resurrection skill starts at least 7 stars, but the 7-star skill book is very rare, and the resurrection skill is even rarer. Wang Hong couldn't help but sigh. Li Zunil slowly approached the desk and picked up an orange. Is this orange edible? Just eat it. Wang Hong said lightly. He was surprised by Li Zunli's carefree and fearless appearance. He is the director of the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau, but why is he not restrained at all? You know, he has a large number of law enforcers under him, all of whom are respectful to him. At this time, he couldn't help but re-evaluate Li Zunli's identity and strength. According to his many years of experience, only those who are strong enough can face everything calmly. And this young man seems to have such an attitude. Full of confidence, Wang Hong looked at Li Zunil, who was eating oranges leisurely, and his expression was very serious. Of course, there is more than one thing, and there is another thing that is more important and requires your resurrection skills. What is it? About collecting luck crystal. Luck crystal again. Li Zunul didn't expect that luck crystal would be mentioned again. Wang Hong looked at Tang Long. Tang Long, you go down first, I will have a good chat with this talent. Okay. After Tang Long answered, he looked at Li Zunul deeply and left quietly. Wang Hong handed 2 oranges to Li Zunul. Don't just stand, sit down and eat. After speaking, he pointed to the sofa in the office. Li Zunul took the orange without any politeness, sat on the sofa, and crossed his legs habitually. Wang Hong was a little surprised and confused when he saw this guy's unruly appearance. Is he like this to everyone? Wang Hong touched his chin and asked curiously. I'm curious, do you still have people you respect? Respect? After thinking for a moment, Li Zunul said half-jokingly. There are people I respect, but no one I fear. After that, he threw the orange peel gently into the trash can. Wang Hong's pupils shrank slightly, and he kept guessing in his heart, what basis does this guy have to say that? He said in a faint tone. According to this, you don't need people to put pressure on you. That's right, I don't need it. Li Zunul was very frank and didn't hide anything. What is your request? Or what do you want? After asking, Wang Hong lit a cigarette, held it in his mouth, and stared at Li Zunul thoughtfully. Li Zunul swallowed the orange slowly and cleared his throat. I have a brother. I could have protected him, but I may not be able to take care of him all the time. Besides, since I'm here, I'll just mention it. Your brother, are you talking about someone he killed? Wang Hong showed a hint of surprise on his face. That's right. Li Zunul stood up leisurely, not hurriedly. Actually, you don't need to take risks. They are doing a small business. You just need to take care of him and don't let others bully you. Regarding the Lin Hu and Lin Lei you mentioned, if they come to you, just say that I did it. Draw a clear line with my brother and don't bother him. It's that simple. Wang Hong was very surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect Li Zunul to be afraid of Lin Lei and the others at all. No wonder he ignored him. Having such a brother is really a blessing in the previous life's blessing. So, he just needed a simple operation to push the matter and responsibility to Li Zunul, without having to suppress it himself. Wang Hong looked at Li Zunul with admiration. Good, you are loyal, I admire you very much. What is your brother's name? Zhao Hao, Fengshu College, Class 2, Grade 3, a cowardly swordsman. He is so lucky to have a brother like you, but are you sure you can handle it when Lin Lei comes? If they make trouble for me, I will let them. Destroy them. Li Zunli's voice was very light, but it was very important. Destroy them. Wang Hong was shocked when he heard it, and thought to himself. Is this guy really that powerful? How much of his words are true and how much are false? Li Zunul saw Wang Hong's half-believing and half-doubting look, as if he had guessed his thoughts, and half-jokingly said. Believe it or not, no one can kill me. Wang Hong was stunned when he heard this, and looked at Li Zunli's calm face, feeling that the other party was not lying, as if he really had such great ability. No wonder he was able to win the championship of the 3 major colleges. He felt that this guy must be made friends, not enemies. He suddenly seemed to remember something. What level are you now? Level 45. Wang Hong nodded gently, but kept muttering in his heart. At level 45, he is fearless. It's still a nanny profession. If there is no big secret, he would never believe it. However, Wang Hong was very happy at this time. He was worried that Wang Hao would face too much danger in taking the dragon pet. It would be great if Li Zunul could help him. Their family has only one hidden profession, and it is a dragon knight. If the dragon knight succeeds, his family will surely become one of the top families. So he tried his best to make Wang Hao succeed. For this reason, he specially formed a team for Wang Hao to seize the dragon pet, but he still has no idea at present. So they are waiting for someone who can resurrect. After all, the dragon pet is something that is snatched from the hands of a giant dragon. It is much more dangerous than snatching food from the mouth of a tiger. Moreover, if Li Zunul is really powerful, then the collection of luck crystal in the 9th district can also be done by Li Zunul. And now what I have to do is to get along well with him. Thinking of this, Wang Hong smiled and said, Don't worry, I will help you with your brother's affairs. You can help me do 2 things, one is to help Wang Hao seize the dragon pet, and the other is to collect luck crystal. You do one thing for me, and I do two things for you, then I am at a disadvantage, right? Li Zunil picked up another orange and ate it, smiling. Quote. Wang Hong didn't expect that this young man was so smart, and immediately changed his words. Then I'll promise you one more thing, is that okay? Li Zunil said calmly. No hurry, tell me first, I'm a little curious about collecting the luck crystal. Chapter 71. Wang Hong walked slowly to the window with a worried look on his face. Anywhere the luck in the luck crystal covers, no monsters in the game will descend, and the people can rest and recuperate. But the luck in the luck crystal will be consumed. Once it is consumed, monsters will descend at irregular intervals, and then the people will suffer. Monsters cannot be killed completely, because they will descend again after being killed. Li Zunil nodded. I know this. Wang Hong paced. And there are two main ways to obtain luck crystal, one is distribution, and the other is active collection. Quote. Li Zunil became interested after hearing the key information. Distribution, who distributes? Wang Hong touched his chin. Of course it is the city, but I have applied to the city, but there are currently no remaining luck crystals to distribute. Li Zunil nodded and guessed. That means you need to actively collect, but I heard that only the Super God Academy has a way to obtain luck crystals. Wang Hong looked at Li Zunil in surprise, his eyes showing thought. It seems that the other party already knows some information. Wang Hong nodded gently. Yes, the Super God Academy has the key to the space teleportation array to the Cosmic Cube. In the big world of the Cosmic Cube, you can find a complete luck crystal, but it is extremely fierce. I heard that you need to compete with all races. Li Zunil heard this and was very interested. Complete luck crystal. Is there an incomplete one? Of course, what we are going to collect is the luck crystal fragments. Luck crystal fragments. Things are getting more and more interesting. He had only heard Guan Shanyu talk about the Cosmic Cube before. As for the key to the space teleportation array and the luck crystal fragments, no one told him. It's really fresh. Seeing that Li Zunil was quite interested, Wang Hong couldn't help but say. You should be able to enter the Super God Academy easily. Li Zunil heard this and his face was uninterested. Let's talk about it later. I'm not too interested. What kind of crappy assessment is there? Wang Hong took a transparent glass cup filled with wolfberries and took a sip. The tone was neither hurried nor slow. This kind of test should not be difficult for you. The place where we look for dragon pets and collect luck crystal is the same place as the Super God Academy for examination. The same place. Where? Li Zunil was a little surprised. This was a bit beyond his expectation. Wang Hong said solemnly, the land of divine punishment. The land of divine punishment. Li Zunil suddenly looked up with a gleam in his eyes. He remembered that Li Chen said he was going to the land of divine punishment. Wang Hong nodded immediately. That's right. The place where we are going to collect crystal fragments is called the land of divine punishment. It is full of dangers and is a life-threatening situation. Generally, only those above level 70 dare to wander around the outermost area. There are luck crystal fragments there. Although it is not as good as the complete luck crystal, it also contains luck and can be used for a short period of time. It's just that it is very difficult and dangerous to obtain. Speaking of this, Wang Hong felt a headache. Li Zunil became interested. How long can a complete luck crystal last? A complete luck crystal can last for 3 months if it's 1 star, 6 months if it's 2 stars, and 30 months if it's 10 stars. Quote. Li Zunil was speechless. It turns out that this luck crystal is also divided into star levels. What about the fragments? It depends on the completeness. The higher the completeness, the closer it is to the durability of the complete luck crystal, but it won't exceed it anyway. Then where is the difficulty and danger you mentioned? Wang Hong took a sip of wolfberry tea and was about to talk, but was suddenly interrupted by Li Zunil. Wait, I want to drink water too. Wang Hong was stunned and stared at the teacup in his hand. Do you need to soak wolfberries? Of course I don't need it as a young man. Okay, there's a water dispenser next to you, pour it yourself, and the disposable cups are on my bookshelf. Wang Hong pointed to the water dispenser next to Li Zunil. Li Zunil was careless and took action without any hesitation. He walked to the bookshelf, but found that there were actually several colored books on the bookshelf. She had a curvy figure. So he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. No wonder he needed to soak wolfberries. He saw that there were almost more wolfberries than water in Wang Hong's cup. Please put these books away. Is it appropriate to leave them out like this? Li Zunul couldn't help but mutter. These were stuffed in by those fools under my command. Wang Hong smiled, showing a smile that only men can understand. Li Zunul shook his head, took a disposable paper cup, and turned to get water. Wang Hong continued. The cosmic cube, the space teleportation array, is somewhere in the God Punishment Land. People from other countries will also enter the God Punishment Land. The beasts and monsters there are all above 5 stars, of high level, and very difficult to kill. Quote. And the beasts and monsters in this God Punishment Land are not only numerous, but also constantly descending, and they are endless. It seems that they are protecting the teleportation array, or preventing people from approaching the teleportation array. Li Zunul pondered while drinking water. Difficult to kill. Not true. I have the Yama's soul calling technique, and even if God comes, he will die in hatred. But he was thinking, would it be a little dangerous for Li Chen to go? He asked thoughtfully, where is the luck crystal fragment in the God Punishment Land? There is a chance of it exploding on the monsters and beasts in the God Punishment Land. That is to say, if you kill enough monsters, you can get that luck crystal fragment. That's right. Quote. Wang Hong nodded and paced. On the surface, it seemed calm, but he was very worried. In the land of divine punishment, only level 100 bosses dared to enter and exit at will. And their equipment was inlaid with various attribute gems and they were fully armed. But when it came to killing monsters, level 100 bosses were not willing to fight hard because the cost effectiveness was too low. Killing 100 monsters might not necessarily result in a luck crystal or fragments. As for challengers of level 70 or 80, they could only hang around on the periphery. Li Zunul asked, so the dragon pet target that Wang Hao found is also in this land of divine punishment? Yes. Li Zunul drank water and fell into deep thought. The powerful monsters in the land of divine punishment were not a threat to him at all. But for others, it might not be so easy to deal with. Li Zunul asked curiously, what about the equipment dropped by the monsters in the land of divine punishment? Is it good? Quote. Wang Hong raised his eyebrows. Of course, it's at least a 5-star monster, so the equipment that explodes is at least 5-star, but the probability of it exploding is low, but they are all top quality. Quote. Li Zunul grinned when he heard this, and was secretly happy. At least they are all 5-star equipment, and they are fine products. This is exactly what he wants. So, he can upgrade, get equipment, and collect luck crystal. The best of all three. Then he can help Wang Hao and catch a dragon pet. When he is not here, he can ask him to take care of Zhao Hao. The plan is perfect. Originally, his backpack is limited, and he doesn't like 2 or 3-star equipment. If they are at least 5-star, he can sell them for money. And sell them for a lot of money. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. How can this be the land of divine punishment? This is heaven. I must go, and I will definitely upgrade quickly. Just when he was about to agree, the cold voice of the system sounded in his mind again. Ding, you have a system task to receive. Quote. Li Zunul was a little surprised. The system has been very idle recently. Is it giving out benefits again? He immediately checked the system tasks. 1. Agree to the other party. Completion reward. You will receive an exclusive poison skill package, including skill books Killing Heart Poison, Obedient Poison, Unrecognizable Poison, Smiling Half-Step Poison. 2. Reject the other party. Completion reward. You will receive an exclusive treatment package, including skill books Healing, Large Healing, Extra Large Healing, Super Healing. Li Zunli's mouth corners raised high, his heart was ecstatic, and he was ready to agree. And send some poison skill books. Wouldn't this make him go on the road of poison milk and never return? As for the healing technique, it is better to let others suffer than to let yourself suffer. So, he couldn't wait to speak. I promise you. When do we set off? Wang Hong pondered for a moment. If you are ready, you can do it tomorrow. Li Zunul nodded immediately. Okay, tomorrow. After hearing the system ding, Li Zunul found that there were several more skill books in his task backpack. He did not hesitate and checked them one by one. They were all 5-star skills. Listen to the poison. Cast this poison on level 1 targets, lasting for 1 hour. Once the other party does not listen to you, they will feel severe pain all over their body and deduct a certain amount of health points. Cast it again to remove it. The CD is 10 seconds. Unrecognizable poison. Cast this poison on level 1 targets, lasting for 1 hour. Once the other party is hit, their appearance will be changed and uglier, and a certain amount of health points will be deducted. Cast it again to remove it. The CD is 10 seconds. Smiling half-step poison. Cast this poison on level 1 targets, lasting for 1 hour. The opponent can only smile and cannot take a step, otherwise he will be struck by severe pain, fall into madness, and deduct a certain amount of health points. Cast it again to remove it. The CD is 10 seconds. Murderous heart poison. Cast this poison on level 1 targets, lasting for 1 hour. Once the opponent has the intention to kill, he will feel great pain in his heart, deduct a certain amount of health points, and cast it again to remove it. The CD is 10 seconds. These don't look like serious poisons. The name doesn't look serious. However, Li Zunul learned all of them. The corners of his mouth slightly raised. This is going to be fun. At this time, Wang Hong asked Li Zunul, "By the way, how many Germany attribute points do you have now?" Li Zunul immediately checked and found that his Germany attribute points were 666 points. He had previously obtained 466 points of virtue attribute points by killing monsters in the 100-layer magic tower in the field trial. After winning the final victory in the Dragon Ball Tower copy, he gained another 300 points. Logically, it should be 766 points. How could it be 666 points? Did he kill 5 people and deduct 100 points? Li Zunul frowned with doubt and suddenly said, 666. What 666? I asked you how many points that virtue attribute has. 666 points. Ah, Wang Hong was startled. He thought the other party was saying something. 666 points. So high. Level 45. Wang Hong was very surprised. Li Zunli's eyes moved slightly, and his tone was a little puzzled. Is 666 points high? 300 points are qualified to be a law enforcer, 400 points are the captain of the law enforcement team, 500 points are the deputy director, 600 points are the director. Li Zunul stared at Wang Hong with interest. What, are you going to give me the position of director of law enforcement? Oh my God, Wang Hong almost fell down. He couldn't help muttering in his heart. Okay, I want to find a job for you, but you want to steal my home. This is too shameless. I have never seen such a shameless person in my life. It's not that I'm stingy, you are too young to hold on to this position of director. Wang Hong smiled slightly, very frankly. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your position as director, it's just an empty title. Li Zunul stroked his handsome face, careless. He had no idea about being an official at all, too many twists and turns. There is no meaning at all. He was just joking. How about I give you a law enforcement captain for fun? It will be convenient to do things. Wang Hong asked tentatively. Law enforcement captain. Law enforcement captain, just listen to me, you don't have to listen to other people. No, we are just a cooperative relationship, I don't want to be ordered by others. I won't let you do anything, you and I know, we are a cooperative relationship, but you have a position, some things are convenient. Okay, then you can give me one. Li Zunul no longer refused after hearing this. He didn't have any burden in his heart. He thought that even if he was given the position of director, he could afford it. Give me the certificate, I'll ask the people below to deal with it. Wang Hong reached out to Li Zunul for the certificate. Li Zunul slowly handed his ID card to Wang Hong, a little skeptical. Is the appointment of the law enforcement captain so hasty? Just take an ID card and it will be done. Everything in this world has been simplified for a long time. In times of crisis, verbal appointments are fine. Wang Hong said calmly. Then you are not afraid of fake IDs. Li Zunul suddenly had an idea. Fake ID. Execute on the spot if caught. Quote. Li Zunul crossed his legs and asked Wang Hong thoughtfully. How many people will we go to the God's punishment land tomorrow? What lineup? Wang Hong touched his stomach, then raised his hand to look at his watch. It's 11 o'clock at night, I'm a little hungry, let's go get some barbecue, come with me. Let's talk while we eat. Eat barbecue, I can have that. Li Zunli's appetite increased when he thought of barbecue, although he had eaten roast chicken a few hours ago. When the two were about to leave the building, Wang Hong stopped. Wait, I'll ask Tang Long to come with me. Soon. The three of them came to a roadside barbecue stall. As soon as they sat down, Wang Hong spoke softly. Tang Long, you said last time you were going to treat me to barbecue, this time the opportunity has come. Quote. Tang Long was startled when he heard this, and then nodded repeatedly. Of course, thanks to the boss for helping my brother with that spiritual skill book, this meal must be my treat. He looked at Wang Hong with a smile on his face. Boss, what do you want to eat? Well, you decide, I'm not picky. Quote. Tang Long saw Wang Hongfang's calm expression and immediately understood. Boss, 10 lamb skewers, 10 beef skewers, 10 pork skewers, 10 grilled leeks, 3 grilled eggplants, 10 grilled pork loins, 10 grilled lamb loins, 10 grilled lamb chops. Li Zunil couldn't help but speak up after hearing this. I don't need the pork and lamb loins. Tang Long said. I didn't order your pork and lamb loins. If you want, I can order them for you. Quote. This made Li Zunil completely confused. Who are these two people? They eat 10 lamb loins and 10 pork loins. Do they have a feud with kidneys or something? So weak, they need more kidneys than those people in northern Myanmar. He shook his head gently. It's okay, I don't need them. I'm just overthinking. Quote. Tang Long smiled and looked at Wang Hong. Boss, do you want to drink? You can drink less, but I've been under too much pressure recently. I'm worried about the exhaustion of the luck crystal. Wang Hong looked miserable. As the director of the Law Enforcement Bureau of the 9th District of Wolong City, he was responsible for the most important security issues of the 9th District. The luck crystal was about to run out, and he didn't have a few powerful bosses. Not only him, but all the law enforcement bureaus in all regions were facing this problem. Every once in a while, they had to look for the fragments of the luck crystal. Tang Long on the side was thinking about a question. Drink less, then 2 boxes. After Tang Long asked the boss for 2 boxes of beer, he comforted Wang Hong. Boss, there's nothing we can do about this. There are so many cities and districts in Sha country, and all of them are under this pressure. Quote. His tone was somewhat helpless. Before the Sha Kingdom Guardian brings back the fortune crystal, each region must take the responsibility of collecting the fortune crystal fragments. Quote. Li Zunil inadvertently heard a new term. Sha Kingdom Guardian. What does it mean? Tang Long heard Li Zunli's question and explained. Sha Kingdom Guardians are super bosses who have the ability to enter and exit the Cosmic Cube. They go to the Cosmic Cube to collect fortune crystals such as the 100-level Sword Saint, Mei Chongshu, and the 100-level Sword Saint, Hu Yidao. Quote. Li Zunil was interested. Besides collecting fortune crystals, what else do they do? They are also responsible for protecting the safety of Sha Kingdom, such as threats from other countries, and the rotation of the ruling family of Sha Kingdom, which all require their approval. Quote. Tang Long's eyes were full of admiration when he talked about the guardians of Sha. Li Zunil was very excited. How many guardians of Sha are there? There are 11 in public, and they are also the 11 most powerful fighters in our Sha. In other words, there are more in secret. We don't know about this, and we are not sure. Tang Long shook his head. Li Zunil waved his hand. That's too far off topic. Who will go to the land of God's punishment tomorrow? Wang Hong thought for a moment after hearing this, and spoke seriously. 6 top adventurers of level 70 to 80, and Wang Hao and you. At this time, Tang Long suddenly remembered something and looked worried. Wang Hao and Li Zunil are so low in level, I'm worried. Wang Hong seemed to have made arrangements in advance. 3 people will protect Wang Hao, and 3 people will protect Li Zunil. There shouldn't be any problems. Quote. Li Zunil looked thoughtful but didn't speak. But he was muttering in his heart. You don't need me to protect that group of people, why are you protecting me? Soon, the barbecue was placed on the small wooden table. The aroma was fragrant, full of cumin flavor. Li Zunil saw the 2 people eating kidneys with big mouthfuls, and his mouth twitched. The way they eat is really ugly. So he just took the mentality of joining if he can't beat them, and immediately took other skewers and ate them. Not to mention, it tasted really good. Li Zunil, do you want to drink something? Tang Long handed him a bottle of beer. Li Zunul shook his head and refused. He couldn't get used to the horse urine smell of beer, and the taste was not as good as white wine. Wang Hong and Tang Long drank by themselves. After a few bottles of wine, Wang Hong and Tang Long began to open their hearts and talk freely. Wang Hong stared at Li Zunul with sleepy eyes. Brother, I think you have a big secret, right? You make it seem like you have no secrets. Li Zunul responded while eating garlic eggplant. Who doesn't have some secrets these days? After saying that, he pulled out a long strip of eggplant flesh and stuffed it into his mouth, mixed with sour radish. One bite, it was extremely sour and refreshing. He showed a satisfied look on his face. Would you mind telling me? Tang Long was curious. Li Zunul shook his head. Tell me. Or you can tell me the secret of the mobile browser first. He thought, are these two drunk? Why would they ask such a low-level question? Wang Hong laughed, then showed his worry. If the probability of success is very low when you go to the land of divine punishment this time, withdraw quickly and don't get involved. Li Zunli's eyes flashed with an inexplicable light. What, are you so pessimistic about this operation? Wang Hong nodded. Actually, I know the probability is a bit low, but I just want to give it a try. The 6 top adventurers are not optimistic about this operation, including Wang Hao himself, but I still want to stick to it. You still have to have dreams. What if you see a ghost? Li Zunul said calmly, and then he continued. If this operation is successful, do I have any extra benefits? Wang Hong was stunned, after thinking for a while. If Wang Hao succeeds in contracting the dragon pet, no matter how the situation changes in the future, he will definitely be your eternal friend. As long as you ask, he will never refuse. He paused. If you can collect luck crystal no matter how much or how little, you will be the great contributor of the 9th district. Apart from anything else, you can walk sideways in the 9th district, and you have priority in everything. I say. Li Zunul heard this, nodded slightly, and raised his eyebrows. Let's just say, are there any material rewards? If you collect luck crystal fragments for the 9th district, I will apply for a reward for you, no less than 20 million. Hey, that's right. Li Zunul nodded with satisfaction. But it was not because he was short of that little money, but a matter of sincerity. Only in this way can you feel happy. Otherwise, you always feel that you are at a disadvantage and it's a bit off. At this time, Li Zunli's cell phone rang. He took it out and saw that it was a call from Zhao Hao, so he answered it immediately. The other party sounded worried. Brother, where are you? How are you? Nothing, I'm having a barbecue. Ah, eating barbecue. Are you alone? No, there are 2 friends. Li Zunul glanced at Wang Hong and Tang Long. One is the director of the 9th District Law Enforcement Bureau, and the other is the law enforcement team leader. Brother, are you really okay? Don't worry, everything is settled. Settled, thank you, brother. Zhao Hao's tone was very excited. I'm going on a long trip recently, take it easy. Ah, brother, you won't be exiled to the frontier, right? Or are you in prison? Zhao Hao suddenly began to worry. He suspected that Li Zunul couldn't get out because of his own affairs. Then he found an excuse to travel far away to prevaricate himself, as if it was played like this in the movies. A black line appeared on Li Zunli's forehead. Can you talk properly? Ah, okay, no more, I'm fine, hanging up. The next morning, after Li Zunul woke up from the hotel next to the Law Enforcement Bureau building, he washed up and met with Wang Hao and others as scheduled. The hotel was booked by Wang Hong, VIP. Before the meeting, he got the law enforcement captain's certificate given to him by Wang Hong. Soon, Li Zunul met with Wang Hao and others. Behind Wang Hao were 6 well-equipped high-level adventurers. When he saw the leisurely Li Zunul, he was very surprised. Boss, it's really you. It's me, Li Zunul said lightly. Wang Hao shook Li Zunli's hand, overjoyed. He received a call from Wang Hong late last night, said that Li Zunul would accompany them to the land of divine punishment. He also said that the other party had the skill of resurrection and could help him. He thought his uncle was joking, but Wang Hong repeated it more than 3 times. This is not a joke. This directly shocked Wang Hao to the ground. His understanding of Li Zunul was also refreshed again. Li Zunul, the first poison nurse of Fengshu College, the first person in the 3 colleges competition, can poison, kill, heal, and resurrect. This is Doesn't it mean that he has complete control over the life and death of others? He searched for a long time but couldn't find someone who had the skill of resurrection, but he didn't expect that he was right next to him. Surprise. Very unexpected. This gave him more hope for this trip to the land of divine punishment to contract a dragon pet. Behind Wang Hao, all 6 top adventurers raised their eyebrows and looked at the mysterious Li Zunul in surprise. There was actually a woman among them. One of the middle-aged men with short hair spoke curiously. "Hello, my name is Along, and I am the captain of the adventure team. Their 5 nicknames are a Hu, a Niu, a Mao, a Go, and a Qian." Li Zunul was immediately happy in his heart, even a Qian came. I really didn't expect it to be so careless. A Mao is the only heroic woman in the adventure team. Along looked at Li Zunul and continued to communicate. I heard that you are a priest. Do you have the resurrection skill? Yes, I am a priest. Do you have enough milk? Poisonous milk is more sufficient. Poisonous milk. Several burly adventurers looked at each other. Poisonous milk, what the hell is that? Wang Hao immediately explained. Brothers, this nurse is not ordinary. I have been nursed by her. I can't say that her milk is sufficient, but it is useless. You don't have to count on her milk. He paused, with a strange expression. Counting on his poison may be more promising. Li Zunul smiled slightly and said frankly. What he said is right. He knew very well that his current tactic was kite flying, so he didn't add any points to the wisdom attribute. Although he had a wisdom staff, his milk was not sufficient. It's just that it's better to have it than not. And as a 5-star skill, the wind of resurgence can indeed be used. He planned to add all wisdom later. After he had holy teleport, he didn't have to sprint by himself. After Wang Hao looked around with a smile. Captain Along, you lead the way, we'll talk while walking. Okay, let's go. Li Zunul followed the others into the car, which was a muscle off-road vehicle. There are 2 cars in total. Li Zunul asked curiously. We drive to the land of God's punishment. What are you thinking? You can't drive to the land of God's punishment. You have to drive to the teleportation array first, teleport to the border, and then walk into the land of God's punishment. Is that so? Li Zunul nodded. Aaron said solemnly. Be careful, this land of God's punishment is very dangerous. It is located at the junction of many countries. In addition to encountering high-level beasts and monsters, you may also encounter enemy forces. Li Zunul nodded. I've heard of this. Aaron said seriously. Be careful, especially young potential stocks like you two. You are important targets for the enemy to strangle the bud. Li Zunul was a little surprised. Strangle the bud. He muttered in his heart. It's not certain who will kill whom. Li Zunul suddenly understood why the Super God Academy's entrance examination was held in the land of God's punishment. Cruel enough. Bloody enough. If you don't experience the truly cruel battle for survival, you'll be no different from a paper tiger. Only through actual combat can you improve your true strength. Li Zunul is a complete exception. His skills are like cheating. Invincible once you get out of the mountain. At this time, Aaron worriedly said, in fact, I think this plan is basically impossible to succeed. It's too difficult to find the luck crystal fragments, and almost no one has succeeded. Li Zunul raised his eyebrows. Should I be so pessimistic? I'm not pessimistic. Deputy Director Qin Tian said that the luck crystal in District 9 can only last for 30 days. Aaron's tone was very low. Wang Hao nodded on the side. It's indeed difficult. Now some people in District 9 have begun to transfer their property. Li Zunul pondered after hearing this. 30 days. That is 1 month. As long as I can go back within 20 days, it should be fine. Within 20 days, I will collect as many pieces of luck crystal as possible to avoid another time. However, just in case, he immediately took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Zhao Hao, asking them to go to other areas recently. Then, he looked at Wang Hao and asked curiously. What's the matter with your contract with the dragon pet? Tell me. Wang Hao nodded. It's like this, because I am a hidden profession dragon knight. When I trigger this hidden profession, I have a dragon contract spell. Dragon contract spell. Yes, but this contract spell can only contract 1 dragon creature. Wang Hao nodded repeatedly. Aaron and others beside him rolled their eyes. What do you mean you can only contract 1 dragon creature? That's right, be content, do you want to contract more? We are not even hidden professions, we fought hard to get here, it's so miserable, it's really annoying to compare ourselves with others. Quote. Lee Zunil didn't feel envious at all, and continued to ask. What if you continue to contract a second one? The first one will be invalid. Wang Hao spread his hands. So it can be replaced. That's good. Lee Zunil was slightly surprised. Wang Hao looked frustrated and shook his head. Brother, you are probably thinking too much, and you are still replacing. It's good to have one, and I don't know if it will succeed this time. He analyzed it carefully, and the requirements of this dragon contract technique are a bit harsh. The lower the blood volume of the dragon creature, the greater the success rate of the contract, otherwise it is difficult to succeed. Or choose the cubs of the dragon creature, the success rate is higher than that of the adult. Lee Zunil asked curiously, as long as you cast the contract spell on the dragon creature, will it succeed? Wang Hao had a trace of worry on his face. It's so simple and good. Is there another saying? Wang Hao nodded. Dragon contract spell tips. The lower the life value of the dragon creature, the higher the success rate, or the younger the dragon creature, the higher the success rate. Lee Zunil was suddenly stunned when he heard this. The lower the life value, the higher the success rate. Isn't this just walking into his own gun? I can use my own Yama's life-taking spell to deduct the life value, and then give the opponent a bite of healing, isn't it? It's that simple. This made him feel that this mission was a bit too easy. He asked curiously, so what are you going to do this time? Wang Hao thought for a moment. This time we plan to find a dragon creature cub, and then attack it, reduce its health, and then I will perform the dragon contract technique. So humble. Lee Zunil chuckled. Dragon creature cubs are at least 8-star beasts, and young ones are all very fierce. Lee Zunil held his chin with his right hand. Well, I will help you contract a dragon pet first, and then you can go back, and I will go to find the luck crystal alone. What? Wang Hao stared at Lee Zunil with his eyes wide open in disbelief. I was not sure of success. Why was he so sure that he could help me successfully contract the dragon clan? The other party's strong self-confidence made Wang Hao feel a little unsure. Although he knew that Lee Zunil was very strong, especially when facing a strong boss, his power was even greater. But this time he was facing a dragon. That was a dragon. Of course, he didn't know that Lee Zunli's poison was deducted according to the percentage of health. Lee Zunil had never explained it to them. He only knew that Lee Zunli's poison was very strong. However, dragon creatures have high resistance and large bodies. In Wang Hao's opinion, no matter how poisonous it is, it may not be effective. Lee Zunil saw Wang Hao's uncertain expression and patted him on the shoulder. You know the poison is very strong. When you meet a dragon creature, you just need to tell me which one you like. Quote. Which one do you like? How did you choose it? Wang Hao nodded immediately. Okay, brother, my uncle said that if you can help me successfully contract a dragon pet, I will never go west if you tell me to go east in the future. Let's talk about it later. Just don't lick women like that, Lee Zunil said lightly. Wang Hao explained helplessly. I was actually pretending to be a dog licker. I intentionally approached Xia Bingshe because of the background behind her. Quote. Lee Zunil looked at him in surprise. A little surprised. At this time, Along and his friends were also surprised. Seeing Wang Hao praising Lee Zunil so much, they couldn't help but mutter in their hearts. This guy is about the same age as Wang Hao, how can he be so powerful? A student in his 40s who hasn't graduated yet. To be honest, they didn't believe it at all. Along said doubtfully. You just said that you will go to find the luck crystal alone. Lee Zunil nodded calmly. Yes. Ahu next to him couldn't help but say. Young man, what level are you? Level 45. Level 45. Another priest, how could you go to the land of God's punishment alone? Quote. Ahu's heart was full of doubts. He didn't believe this guy could do it. Not to mention level 45, level 65 wouldn't work either. Wang Hao explained at this time. Brothers, you don't know, his name is Lee Zunil. He is a genius among geniuses, a pervert among perverts, very strong. He can be said to be the best of the younger generation in Wolong City. A genius among geniuses, a pervert among perverts. After Ahu muttered, he couldn't help but look at Li Zunil again. He swept his eyes over Li Zunil, except that he was a little handsome. It seemed that there was no obvious feature. Of course, there was also a rare invincible self-confidence. Wang Hao continued to explain. You know, he won the championship in the 3 major colleges yesterday, killed the Sword Saint in seconds, and fought against the Shadow Saint Thorn. Speaking of this, there is indeed something. Along nodded slightly, and changed the subject randomly. But this is the land of divine punishment. The lowest monsters are 50 or 60 levels, and they are all above 5 or 6 stars. Quote. Ahu also emphasized, yes, we, the job changers of level 70 or 80, have to deal with 5 or 6 star monsters carefully, not to mention that he is only level 45. Li Zunil took out a piece of gum from his pocket and stuffed it in his mouth. I don't want to say how powerful I am, but I can do it. He paused. You don't have to doubt me. After that, he looked up and closed his eyes to rest. He always said that he was invincible, but there were always people who doubted him. He was too lazy to explain. Could it be that he bought a loudspeaker and said everywhere that he was really invincible? I don't know how long it took. Wang Hao patted him on the shoulder gently. Brother, let's go, let's get off the car, the teleportation array is here, and we will be at the border soon. After reaching the border, we need to walk to the land of divine punishment. At this time, Along suddenly stopped everyone and said solemnly. Wait, everyone needs to wear this. Li Zunil looked closely. Wow, it was a mask, and it had a weird and funny pattern. For example, beautiful woman with big rosy lips. Orangutan grinning. Old dog sticking out tongue. Is this thing necessary? Wang Hao's tone was somewhat resistant. Isn't his handsome face being ruined? But Along was calm and serious. Wang Hao, you should know that in this land of divine punishment, in addition to encountering fierce beasts and monsters, you may also encounter masters from other countries. Wearing it will at least make you less passive. Ahu echoed. Some people are very cruel, especially it is not ruled out that there are remaining masters from the island country messing around. If you fall into their hands, the end will be miserable. Hearing this, everyone took the mask and put it on casually, then looked at each other. Some of them couldn't help laughing. Only one person, A Mao. She is the only girl in the adventure team, and she prepared a normal mask herself. So, she is the only one who looks like a normal person. The others look a bit like perverts. Aaron saw that everyone had put on masks, and took out several maps and distributed them to everyone. As he distributed them, he said, everyone take a map. If you get separated on the way, you can eventually go to the same place. The target place has been marked on the map. Look at the map carefully. The land of God's punishment is roughly divided into 5 rings. Our destination is in the 3rd ring in the north. In the center is the teleportation array of the cosmic cube, which cannot be approached. Li Zunil looked at the map in confusion and asked, is there any point in distinguishing these 5 rings? Of course, outside the 5 rings, there are basically 5-star monsters. The closer to the inner ring, the higher the star rating of the monster, and the more ferocious it is. After Aaron finished speaking, he took everyone out of the car and headed for the border teleportation array. After a while of dizziness, Li Zunil looked around and found that he was located at the southwest border of Sha country. There are many adventurers stationed nearby. Obviously, this land of divine punishment is outside the border. According to Aaron's introduction, the land of divine punishment is a very special area and does not belong to any country. So, people from all countries can enter. He followed Aaron and others to the southwest. According to Aaron, the rest can only be done on foot. There is no paved road, only desert, swamp, forest, wetland, fog. Li Zunil followed behind everyone, constantly using holy teleport. In the blink of an eye, he appeared dozens of meters ahead. Everyone was completely stunned when they found Li Zunil's elusive figure. What kind of ghost skill is this? Teleport. Aaron now completely understood why Li Zunil dared to propose to find that luck crystal by himself. It turns out that he has this heaven-defying body skill, which is simply unsolvable. But, although he has good body skills, can he kill a 7-star or 8-star monster? Aaron was still confused. You know, the defense and resistance of those high-level monsters and beasts are very high. The effects of debuff and poison are generally very poor. Unlike Aaron's worries, Lee Zunul was very happy at this time. Even though he already had the magical skill poison milk is poisonous, he couldn't help but get excited. Because this teleportation skill really completes the movement instantly, without casting time, and without skill pre-swing and post-swing. Just like the teleportation of Bad Handsome or the teleportation of the Moon Worshipper in the TV series. Disappeared from the original place in a flash, and suddenly appeared in another place. So, he began to let himself go. Basically, he disappeared after taking a step, and then appeared hundreds of meters away. Then he took another step, disappeared again, and appeared hundreds of meters away again. Hundreds of meters in 1 second, hundreds of meters in 1 second. Aaron, Wang Hao and others were envious. They had only one thought in their minds. This poison milk, it's really awesome. They walked all the way for half a day. Aaron looked at the gray foggy space ahead and stopped. Brothers, pay attention. We have entered the edge of the land of divine punishment. Monsters and beasts may appear. Be careful, this is not a joke. Everyone nodded. Lee Zunul didn't take it to heart at all. He was analyzing whether he had any weaknesses. After thinking for a while, he didn't think of any weaknesses. The only thing was that his level was not high enough. The problem of being controlled and trapped that he was worried about before did not exist at all now. After all, the passive state of holy state is immune to all control. And teleportation can make oneself appear in the skill casting range, any place within the circle. No one can trap him at all. The key is, CD is only 1 second. Lee Zunul muttered to himself, God-level skills are so different. He found that he only needed to upgrade now, and the level increase was equal to the strength increase. Even the previous alchemy and poison flow has completed the transformation and turned into a teleportation poison flow. He felt that he could throw the poison into the opponent's mouth. Wang Hao saw Lee Zunul hiding in the depths in front of him, and couldn't help shouting. Brother, what magical skills have you learned again? So cool. Lee Zunli's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Wang Hao in an instant, scaring him. He looked at Wang Hao in confusion. What did you just say? I said. Wang Hao was about to repeat, but his face suddenly changed, and his tone was hurried. There is a ferocious beast. As soon as the voice fell, Along and others immediately followed Wang Hao's gaze. Sure enough, a huge wolf-shaped beast slowly walked out of the bushes 100 meters away. Staring at everyone, drooling. It was slender and thin, with dark green eyes. Its whole body was a light dark green, but there was some distorted light around its body, making it seem a little unreal. Nether wolf. Aaron on the side screamed. Lee Zunul turned his head and looked, without blinking, gently waving his staff. A ball of green light shot out and hit the nether wolf instantly. Then, as expected, the nether wolf fell directly, and even a piece of equipment exploded. Lee Zunul teleported to the nether wolf, picked up the equipment and took a look. It turned out to be a 5-star leggings. He decisively stuffed it into his character bag. Then, he teleported back to Wang Hao as if nothing had happened. It seems that what you just said is not this. Quote. Wang Hao was stunned for a long time when he saw Lee Zunli's smooth operation. Ahu and others beside him were also stunned the whole time. What kind of operation is this? That nether wolf is a 5-star social beast. Social. Suddenly, Along's face changed again. No, everyone pay attention. This nether wolf is a social beast, and there are probably many nether wolf nearby. Everyone became alert, took out their weapons, and was cautious. But Lee Zunul didn't take it seriously at all. He even took out a piece of chewing gum from his pocket and started chewing. He looked at the edge of the so-called God's punishment land leisurely. He was calm in his heart. He was even looking forward to it. Finally, I got to the God's punishment land, and I can let go and do a big fight. It seems that there are countless high-level equipment waiting for him to pick up. He raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. This will be a massacre. Lee Zunul held the staff elegantly and prepared to kill. However, there was no movement, except for the crickets jumping on the ground and the chirping of insects and birds in the distance. Not a single nether wolf appeared again. Fortunately, he was on high alert and was ready to pick up equipment everywhere. He couldn't help but glance at Aaron, and his eyes seemed to ask. Where is the scourge you mentioned? Aaron, Ahu was a little confused. Didn't you say that this is a social animal? Where is the group? Aaron shook his head, with confusion on his face. I don't know, it looks a bit abnormal. Lee Zunil put away the staff and patted the dust on his sleeves. Don't waste time, let's go and find the dragon quickly. After you get it, you go back first, and then I'll go find that luck crystal. After that, he took out the map and looked at it carefully. They had walked for most of the day, and were still 30 kilometers away from their destination. The destination was called Dragon Tooth Valley. They moved forward quickly, crossing mountains and ridges. Among them, the slowest one was Wang Hao, because he was the lowest level. And Li Zunil added all physique, so his speed was already fast, and with the addition of the sacred teleport skill, he was extremely fast. Hundreds of meters per second, this is comparable to the speed of a bullet. He was still thinking, if the level reached 100, he could appear at 1000 meters in 1 second. Then 30 kilometers, teleport 30 times, 30 seconds. This is, poison someone, and after 100 seconds, you are 100 kilometers away. This cheat is quite powerful. This is probably stronger than the moon-worshipping sect leader, right? Next, the system probably won't give me any benefits for half a year. After all, it has held back such a powerful big move for me. Finally, 2 hours later, several people came to the vicinity of the Dragon Tooth Valley. They encountered several waves of powerful monsters on the way, but they were all killed instantly by Li Zunil. Never dragged his feet. Li Zunil naturally got all the exploded equipment. He looked around. This is a huge jungle valley with countless huge footprints on the ground. Obviously, those are the footprints of a giant dragon. They could vaguely hear the dragon roar near the Dragon Tooth Valley, low and loud. They lay outside the valley and looked from afar. Li Zunil looked closely. In the valley, there were several huge dragons with wings on their bodies, typical lizard-like dragons. It was completely different from the oriental dragons that Li Zunil imagined. A little unexpected, however, these dragons were also extraordinary, spitting ice or flames from their mouths. They still looked very fierce. Li Zunil said calmly. Which one do you like? I'll keep it and kill the others. Quote. Wang Hao was confused. Along and others were also confused. What he said, you don't treat dragons as dragons, do you? They vaguely saw 3 giant dragons in the valley. That's 3 dragons. They looked at Li Zunil with some numbness. Now even if they said there were 3 gods in front of them, they believed that they would be killed by Li Zunil. They began to doubt themselves. It seems that they are just errand runners. At this time, Li Zunil was still looking at the giant dragons in the valley. The giant dragons in the valley. One of them was sky blue and spit out frost from its mouth. One of them was fiery red and spit out flames from its mouth. One of them was muddy and kept playing with mud. Li Zunil was wondering if the last one would be the legendary Earth Dragon. He turned his head to look at Wang Hao. How is it? Which one do you like? Ah, the blue one that spits out frost. Li Zunil nodded. Okay, but I'm going to cancel the team. I have to take the experience myself. Do you have any objections? Wang Hao shook his head first. Brother, no objection, I'm very grateful that I can contract a dragon pet. And the other people, along, also shook their heads and said they had no objection. Who dares to say they have an objection? Before, he killed the beast in seconds. It was so easy. It was just a matter of raising his hand. They wanted to get experience, but they had to live to get it. Seeing this, Li Zunil didn't hesitate to cancel the team and headed straight to Longya Valley alone. It was just a few seconds. When Li Zunil approached Longya Valley, he paid special attention to the CD of his resurrection skill. It had been 24 hours and it was cooled down. At this time, the 3-headed dragon seemed to sense something and looked around. 2 nostrils bigger than fists sniffed everywhere. Wang Hao in the distance was nervous at this moment, both hands clenched into fists. He stared at everything in the Dragon Tooth Valley intently, not daring to relax at all. Li Zunil had told him before that as long as he waved to him at that time, he would quickly cast the Dragon Clan contract spell. The casting distance of his Dragon Clan contract spell was 500 meters. So he didn't dare to breathe heavily. He kept waiting for Li Zunli's gesture. At this moment, Li Zunul teleported to a certain range from the dragon, and was within the casting distance of poison milk as poisonous. He briefly checked the information of the fiery red dragon. Flame dragon, 8-star beast. Level 80. HP, 100%, 400 million. Morality, -100. Intelligence, 1888. Physical strength, 1888. Charm, 88. Strength, 1888. Attack, 2888. Defense, 1888. Skill 1, Flame Breath. The flame dragon will spit out a thick flame, covering a radius of 100 meters, and the high temperature will melt everything. Skill 2, Dragon Roar. The flame dragon will emit a huge and piercing sound, which will make your legs and feet weak, your will unsteady, and your attributes will decline across the board. Introduction. A long time ago, dragons appeared in the world. Their scales are as hard as steel and can withstand attacks from weapons such as swords. Their eyes shine like gems and can see through the enemy's mind. At the same time, dragons are also highly intelligent and cunning, able to develop plans and strategies to fight enemies. And they guard treasures. These treasures usually include valuables such as gold, silver, and jewelry, and sometimes even mysterious magical items. Dragons will stop any creatures that attempt to approach the treasures and protect these precious treasures from being violated. Note: isn't it good to be alive? Why provoke the god of death? Mantra: there are always people who want to harm me and take my gold and gems. I will definitely make them come back. Li Zunul looked at the other two dragons. One is called Frost Dragon and the other is called Earth Dragon. The attributes are similar, both are already off the charts. When Li Zunul was checking the information, at this moment, the three dragons also discovered Li Zunli's existence, and they pounced on Li Zunul without hesitation. Flames and frost spewed out of the mouths of the two dragons at the same time. The Earth Dragon controlled countless mud and smashed it towards Li Zunul. Li Zunul was quick-witted and not panicked at all. He quickly waved his staff, and two balls of 200% green light directly hit the Fire Dragon and the Earth Dragon. As expected, it was another instant kill. The next second, he appeared in another safe place. The place originally covered with frost, fire and mud was already in ruins. Oh my goodness, if I didn't have teleportation for this range attack, I'm afraid I would suffer a lot. He waved the staff in his hand, and a blade-like green light hit the Frost Dragon. The health of the Frost Dragon began to decline. To be on the safe side, Li Zunul cast a healing spell on it. In order to attract its attention, he was still taunting the dragon. Dragon, it's just a big reptile. When Li Zunul was teasing the dragon, suddenly his eyes lit up. He saw light around the two fallen dragons. Needless to say, something good must have exploded. This is an 8-star beast, and the things it exploded must be extraordinary. He secretly rejoiced. The next second, he teleported to the two fallen dragons and picked up a few glittering equipment and gems, as well as skill books. He didn't have time to take a closer look, so he teleported away again, concentrating on attracting the attention of the Frost Dragon. The Frost Dragon was completely driven crazy by Li Zunul. It was like trying to hit a mosquito and failing to hit it for a long time. Whether he pounced on it or spit out frost breath, he couldn't attack the opponent. The opponent was like an indestructible cockroach. The dragon roared angrily. The sound was extremely oppressive, but it had no effect on Li Zunul. Under all kinds of torture, the dragon's breath began to wilted. Its blood volume gradually decreased. It's time. Li Zunul saw that the dragon's health value had dropped to 3%, and immediately waved to Wang Hao. Wang Hao saw Li Zunli's gesture, and immediately plucked up his courage and touched over. He found the direction behind the dragon, waiting to cast the Dragon Clan contract on the dragon at any time. At this time, the dragon's health value has reached 0.01%. Li Zunul shouted, "Wang Hao, do it!" Wang Hao immediately cast the Dragon Clan contract on the Frost Dragon. I saw a mysterious white light floating out from Wang Hao's body, and then quickly hit the Frost Dragon. The mysterious white light seemed to have some magic. In just a moment, the Frost Dragon was stunned in place, thinking about life. His eyes became dull, as if he had lost his soul. 10 full seconds passed. The Frost Dragon's eyes regained clarity. Although it was not as unruly as before, it was still very domineering. I succeeded, Wang Hao shouted happily. The frost dragon turned and looked at Wang Hao gently, with an obedient look. At this time, Li Zunil shook his head. What a pity. What a pity. There was a trace of regret on his face. Wang Hao was very surprised to see this, and was a little confused. What's wrong, big brother? Li Zunli's voice was faint. If you kill this dragon, you can get some good things. I think you should compensate me for this. Quote. Wang Hao was stunned, as if what the other party said made sense. He chuckled and said immediately, don't worry, big brother, you name a price, my family is not short of money. Li Zunil shook his head gently. Forget it, I don't want your money, you have to agree to one request of mine. Big brother, whatever request you make, I will definitely agree to it. I'm not in District 9, you have to protect Zhao Hao and his family for me. No problem, big brother, I have this frost dragon now, and when my level is raised, I'm sure there will be few people in Wolong City who can match me. Wang Hao agreed immediately. Li Zunil nodded and stared at the frost dragon with some doubts. Why is this frost dragon still level 80? Isn't it suppressed by your level? It seems not, I'm level 36 now, and this frost dragon is still level 80. Wang Hao also felt very strange. Li Zunil had the same idea as him, thinking that the pet should be at the same level as the owner, such as Lin Yu's swallowing python, the level is the same as his. Strange. After thinking for a while, Li Zunil was thoughtful. That's good. You can go to the edge of this god's punishment land and rely on the frost dragon to quickly upgrade, or go back to Wolong City directly for safety, because this god's punishment land may not be safe and there are foreign adventurers. Wang Hao's eyes showed thinking. I plan to go back to Wolong City first. The 9th district is not stable recently. Game monsters may come at any time. Uncle asked me to go back as soon as I am done and help. That's good. You go back first, then big brother. Li Zunil put his hands in his pockets and said lightly. To cure the root cause, I still need luck crystal, so I will collect some luck crystal fragments and take them back, upgrade them, and take some equipment back. At this point, he immediately checked the skill book that the dragon exploded in the character's backpack. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed slightly. The expression on his face when he looked at the skill book was very unexpected. It turned out to be Sword Control, a 6-star skill. He was a little disappointed, but also a little surprised. Disappointed, the 8-star dragon only dropped a 6-star skill book. Surprised, he got the sword control technique he promised to Zhao Hao. He took the skill book in his hand and looked at Wang Hao. Since you go back to Wolong City, take this back to Zhao Hao and ask him to learn it. Can I trust you? Quote. Brother, you must believe me. You are the one who made my 8-star dragon. Wang Hao said solemnly. Li Zunil nodded and handed the sword controlling skill book to Wang Hao. Okay, you guys go back quickly. Okay, brother, take care. Quote. After Wang Hao finished speaking, he controlled the frost dragon to bow its head, and he rode on the dragon. For a moment, it was so domineering, even Li Zunil couldn't help but feel a little envious. But obviously, he didn't have this blessing. He waved to Wang Hao, signaling him to leave. Wang Hao respectfully clasped his fists to Li Zunil, and then controlled the frost dragon to fly back and forth. And Along and others were also called away by Wang Hao, and went back home directly to Wolong City. Li Zunil felt relaxed when he saw several people leave. He has no burden now. He looked at this land of divine punishment with lofty ambitions. Next, the massacre begins. Quote. After saying that, he took a step and started his slaughter journey in the land of divine punishment. Just now, he killed 2 dragons and his level was directly increased by 1 level. But it was only 1 level. According to this progress, he would need to kill a lot of powerful monsters next. The land of divine punishment is vast and boundless. At this time, Li Zunil was on the 3rd ring of the land of divine punishment. He decided to go deeper from the 3rd ring area to the 2nd ring area or even the 1st ring area. Because the stronger the monster, the better the things that explode. At the same time, the higher the level of the monster, the greater the probability of exploding the fragments of luck crystal. He was not worried about any enemy adventurers. He was not even worried about any level 100 bosses. So, Li Zunul became a 10,000-year jungler. He diligently slaughtered the pitiful high-level beasts in the land of divine punishment. There were no powerful beasts or monsters, can hold on for 2 seconds in his hand. That's right, 2 seconds. Day after day, day after day. Half a month passed in a flash. At this moment, 10 o'clock in the morning. The Wolong City competitive dungeon was bustling with people. Countless people were watching the confrontation in the dungeon. 2 groups of people. One side was led by Lin Xiao and Ouyang Qing, with a huge group of people standing behind them. Among them was the holy poison mage of Tenglong Academy, Fang Wuqing, Sword Saint, Sha Libai, Black and White Academy's number 1 mage, Fang Xiao, Shadow Saint Thorn, Qin Wangchuan. The other side is led by Lin Yu and Wang Hao. Behind them are Tang Xiaosan, Wang Tang, Tan Huan, Sha Bingshe, Li Shang, etc. Ever since Li Zunul disappeared, Ouyang Qing and Lin Xiao, 2 school beauties, saw that they couldn't find Li Zunul from Fengshu Academy. In addition to complaining that Li Zunul was a coward and a turtle, they also said that the people in Fengshu Academy were all cowards, a coward. The arrogant Lin Yu could not tolerate it at all. As a die-hard fan of Li Zunul, Wang Hao naturally could not tolerate it either. So the 2 of them decided to make a public announcement. If you have the ability, come to the Wolong City competitive dungeon to compete. So far, the conditions for the spontaneous PK competition among students from the 3 major colleges have been met. In response to this, all the senior management turned a blind eye. Because young people can improve their strength by peaking more. They really hope that young people will compete more. At the same time, the land of divine punishment. Li Zunul, who was walking in the jungle, suddenly heard a fierce battle ahead. He teleported to the edge of the battlefield in a few seconds. He looked closely. In the battlefield, 1 person fought against several people. The besieged people were covered in wounds and blood. Li Zunul took a closer look and found that it was Li Chen. He looked stern and solemn, with several flying swords protecting his body. He was besieged by the remnants of the island country. This was something he had never expected. The 4 opponents were ninja assassins, and their ninjutsu skills were extremely flexible and outrageous. What was even more terrible was that the levels of the opponents seemed to be very high. Li Chen was only level 55 now. He guessed that the opponents were at least level 80 or 90. If they were ordinary adventurers in their 50s, they would have been wiped out here long ago. But fortunately, Li Chen had the Holy Sword technique. At this moment, he shouted, "Holy Sword technique." The several flying swords protecting his body were spinning at high speed, and a buzzing sound came out. Then, a terrifying sword shadow dozens of meters long appeared in front of Li Chen in an instant. As he waved his hands, the terrifying sword shadow suddenly slashed at the besieged people. The sword shadow was so powerful that it seemed to pierce the sky. All the besiegers were wearing masks and covering their faces, and only fear could be seen in their eyes. Some of them couldn't help but speak. Mei Chongshu. He shouldn't be Mei Chongshu. Mei Chongshu's holy sword technique is more domineering and terrifying. His mask fell off. It's a Sha countryman, very young, it seems to be a seedling. Then we must get rid of him as soon as possible. We have all fallen, how can we let them live well? At this time, Li Chen's sword shadow arrived in an instant. Boom! The terrifying sword shadow descended like the god of death, cutting a huge gully in the earth. But strangely, the other party disappeared. The ninjutsu was avoided again. A bunch of old fools. Li Chen felt that if this continued, he would die here. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He waved his hand, and a huge sword appeared in his hand, and then the huge sword stood in the air again, located at his knees. He jumped up and was ready to fly away on his sword. But something happened. The 4 besieging adventurers who had disappeared suddenly jumped up from all directions, holding ninja swords of medium length in their hands, and slashed at Li Chen at lightning speed. This move again. Li Chen's face changed drastically. He expected this scene to happen. Every time he was about to fly away on his sword. The 4 opponents used this method to keep him, stabbing him a few times out of the blue, but did not fight him head-on. Instead, they used ninjutsu to lurk and hide. This tactic almost drove him crazy. Li Chen felt a little uneasy. The tactics of these people were too rogue and mature. It seemed that they had been well trained for a long time. What a dog. This is even more dog than Qin Wangchuan. There is no most sinister, only more sinister. Li Chen couldn't help but complain helplessly, and he was very anxious. I can't die yet. My sister is still waiting for me in the hospital, and I still owe Li Zunal 3 million, which will be due in a few days. My equipment is ready, and I am ready to go back and sell it to pay back the money. Who would have expected to meet this group of old villains? Li Chen once again waved his sword with both hands to resist the attacks of 2 people, and then blocked the attack of 1 person with his sword, and the attack of the last person could not be stopped. The ninja sword with a cold light slashed at me again. According to Li Chen's guess, this is another light blow. Obviously, the other party wants to torture me to death like this. But this time is completely different. The other party directly used all his strength and stabbed Li Chen's back fiercely. Puff! Li Chen looked down and saw the red tip of the knife emerging from his chest. It was dripping with bright red blood. Then, a burst of pain came out. His eyes went black, and his health value was completely at the bottom. Finally, he insisted on shouting, "Island fool!" Then, he was dying, completely losing his life. The 4 besieged adventurers smiled grimly. Finally got rid of this guy, he's quite tenacious. He's so young, but he knows the holy sword technique. How dare he stay? The fall of my island country has a lot to do with Mei Chongshu's holy sword technique. That's right, if he hadn't killed our master who entered the cosmic cube, we wouldn't have fallen. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the 4 people. His handsome face caught everyone's eyes. Sha people. They thought he was handsome in a trance. Bright eyes and white teeth, long black bangs, resting on the eyebrows. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised inadvertently, as if he was looking at prey. Just when the 4 people were surprised at how this young Sha people appeared quietly. But he saw a strange smile on his face and raised his staff. Then, I saw 4 balls of green light. The light instantly hit the 4 people, and they didn't even have time to perform ninjutsu. They fell down completely, died on the spot, and their souls returned to heaven. It was Li Zunal who had just arrived at the edge of the battlefield to watch the battle. He saw the 4 remnants of the island country were wiped out. Li Zunli's mouth corners raised exaggeratedly. Garbage, destined to be garbage. Then he glanced at Li Chen, who was already lying on the board, and felt a little reluctant. He was covered with scars all over his body, and it seemed that he had been stabbed a lot. Li Zunal suddenly felt very fortunate. If he didn't have holy teleport, it would be very troublesome if he was entangled by such an old. Although he didn't die, it might be very painful. Who the hell wants to be abused? Only then did he understand the good intentions of the system daddy. And when encountering sonic attacks such as the roar of the dragon, he found that running fast was useless. Once you are hit, it will be very troublesome, and it is very likely that you will be controlled all the time and suffer pain all the time. Li Zunal was thankful and immediately waved his staff. A fist-sized white light ball gushed out from the staff and quickly entered Li Chen's body. After a few seconds, Li Chen slowly opened his eyes, and then his whole body tensed up instantly. He seemed to remember that he was experiencing a battle. Seeing this, Li Zunal used Wind of Resurgence to give Li Chen a few sips of milk. Now Li Zunal has reached level 66. Because of the existence of the Holy Teleport skill. All his attribute points behind him were added to Wisdom, so now he has enough milk. Moreover, Wind of Resurgence is originally a mid to high level recovery technique. The treatment effect is quite considerable. Li Chen looked closely and found that it was Li Zunal. He suspected that he had hallucinations and couldn't help rubbing his eyes. Looking at the real and handsome face in front of him, he still spoke hesitantly. Li Zunal, it's me. Why are you here? I came to you to pay you back. You haven't paid me back yet. How can you just walk away and avoid the debt? Li Zunal smiled. Li Chen could tell that Li Zunal was joking. He still had a lot of doubts in his mind. You resurrected me. Or resurrection. Li Zunal took out a piece of chewing gum from his pocket. Do you want to join us? No, thank you. Li Chen waved his hand and answered simply. At this moment, he was very shocked. Li Zunal actually knew the resurrection technique. Isn't he? Poisonous milk. Can it poison people to death? Can it resurrect people? Then doesn't this mean he is the king of hell? Li Chen couldn't help but sigh, and his eyes looking at Li Zunul were very complicated. You can actually perform resurrection. How many stars is it? 7 stars. The target must be dead for no more than 1 hour, and it can only be used once within 24 hours. That's very abnormal. I don't think anyone in Wolong City has ever heard of anyone with resurrection skills. It's okay. In comparison, my poison is more interesting. Li Zunul laughed, remembering that he had just obtained the skill of casting poisons in various ways, but had not used it yet. He planned to find an opportunity to try it out. Your poison is more interesting. Yes. Do you want to try it? Of course not. Li Chen shook his head. Who would eat too much and then get poisoned for no reason? It's not Shenong. Li Zunul nodded, his hands in his pockets. What are your plans next? I'll go back to Wolong City to sell my equipment and pay you back. What a coincidence, I'm also going to go back to sell my equipment. Can I give you a ride? My holy sword control is different from ordinary sword control. It can carry 2 people. How can I be embarrassed? Li Chen couldn't see any embarrassment on Li Zunli's face. He thought, tisk tisk tisk, this guy is really thick-skinned. He didn't see that you were embarrassed at all. Li Chen looked at the careless Li Zunul, and infinite emotion rose in his heart. Sighed softly, he slowly got up, patted the dust on his body, and said with a sigh. It seems that now I not only owe you money, but also my life. It's really unpredictable. He felt that he owed Li Zunul more and more things now. This is not easy to pay back. What debts do I owe every day? Li Zunul looked at Li Chen with a smile, but did not speak. Then, he shook his head slightly, turned around and walked to the 4 adventurers who fell to the ground and died. After removing their masks, he found that they did look like islanders. Vile and insidious. Li Zunul was a little confused. How did you get involved with these people? Li Chen slapped his head, as if he suddenly remembered something. I found the traces of the remnants of the island country. There are quite a few people in a valley somewhere in the east of this land of divine punishment, about 10 to 20. Li Zunli's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he was very excited. There are only 10 or 20 remnants of the island nation. We have to destroy them before we can go back. Li Chen was a little worried. But these adventurers are of very high levels, and they are not easy to deal with. They can sneak through ninjutsu, and they are wretched and scoundrels. I guess I was sneaked here by them. Li Zunul pondered when he heard this. Li Chen suddenly stared at Li Zunul curiously. How far is your poisoning distance? 660 meters. After 20 days of crazy slaughter of monsters and beasts, his level has reached the terrifying level 66. Therefore, the casting targets of his poison milk magic skill have become 660. That is, 660 dagger-like green lights can be instantly sent out. At the same time, the skill casting distance has also become 660 meters. The teleportation distance of the magic skill, Holy Teleport, has also become 660 meters. Now, most of his character backpack is already filled with equipment. That's right, it was only half full, not full. He didn't know how many 60 to 90 high-level beasts and monsters he had killed. He felt that he had cleared an area, at least thousands of them. All of them were extremely powerful monsters and beasts. But the drop rate was indeed very low, but they were indeed all fine products. 107 5-star equipment, 65 6-star equipment, 26 7-star equipment, and 8 8-star equipment. For some reason, no gems of all kinds fell. Not a single one. Until now, he only collected 6 fragments of luck crystal. It must be said that this luck crystal is too difficult, and the drop rate is lower than that of 8-star equipment. Thousands of beasts, only 6 low-level luck crystals were dropped. If it were a level 100 boss, he would definitely not be able to kill so many beasts in 20 days. Li Zunul finally understood. Why are these level 100 bosses unwilling to come here to fight monsters? With this drop rate, will they lose everything? Moreover, the completeness of these luck crystals is less than 50%, 2 1-star, 2 2-star, and 2 3-star. He never expected that the luck crystal fragments dropped by the 8 or 9-star monsters were actually 1 or 2-star. It's way off. On the side, 660 meters. Li Chen was delighted when he heard this, and immediately spoke excitedly. How about I fly you around twice on my sword, and you release poison in the air? You mean fire coverage? Shake their egg yolks apart. Yes, that's what I mean. Li Zunul heard this, and a strange smile appeared on his face. I can't believe you are such a person, Li Chen. Anyone would do the same when facing them. I agree, let's do it. Li Zunul nodded excitedly. This was the first time he was taken in the air and released poison on his sword. Isn't this similar to a bomber? This time they must be bombed back. These sinister and vicious guys, they haven't stopped even after destroying their country. They have made all the calculations, and they are here to strangle the young seedlings. How can a man endure this? Uncle K and Ren can't stand it. Li Chen didn't waste any words, and waved his hand gently, and a giant sword flew steadily in front of him. The flat sword body still had light expanding outward, as if it was materialized. Li Chen pointed at the sword and said, "The sword body looks like materialized light all around, comparable to steel, you can step on it and it won't fall." Li Zunul nodded in understanding. Li Chen jumped onto the giant sword first, and then waved to Li Zunul. "Go." Li Zunul also jumped up boldly. Steady. Very stable. This is the real air suspension. It's all air underneath. Li Zunul thought so in his heart. At this time, Li Chen told Li Zunul, "You can hold me a little, otherwise I'm worried that you will fall down later." Quote. Li Zunul hesitated immediately. He looked at Li Chen's waist, then at Li Chen's neck, and finally at his shoulders. "Brother, it seems that I can't do it." Li Zunul was a little entangled. "Just grab the clothes on my back." "Okay, two grown men, don't be so particular." Li Zunul nodded, then stopped entangled, and decisively grabbed the clothes on Li Chen's back. Seeing Li Zunul standing firm, Li Chen gestured gently with his hands, and his movements were already very skilled. Silently, the giant sword slowly rose into the air, and then accelerated rapidly, heading in the direction where he found the remnants of the island country. Very quiet, only the wind noise was relatively loud. I have to say that NVH is quite well done. Of course. When flying fast, the wind still blew a little. Li Zunul flew in the air with Li Chen's giant sword, and couldn't help but yearning. "Good fellow, your sword control is really cool," Li Chen said while controlling the direction of the sword. "Of course, this is the holy sword control, and my talent is S level. The higher the anger value, the stronger the attack power, and there is no upper limit." "That's okay," Li Zunul answered casually. Li Chen was a little surprised. He thought the other party would be surprised, but he was surprised. He had an S-level talent, but the other party was so calm. And he just said lightly, "Okay. This guy seems to have no less talent than me." Listening to the tone of no surprise, it seems that he is even better than me. At this moment, Li Zunul was thinking seriously about a question. Does the range of Holy Teleport work in the air? He hasn't tried it yet, but he suddenly thought that it was possible. That is, if he falls in the air, use Holy Teleport in time to get back to the sword. This is reasonable. Besides, since I can appear anywhere I want within the casting range. If I fall into the air, if I can take the initiative every second, then it means that I can really go to the sky. Go up 666 meters per second, and then fall freely, less than 10 meters per second. If I cast Holy Teleport again, can I go up another 666 meters? If I repeat this cycle, step on my right foot with my left foot to go to the sky. Oh my God, I can't even think about it. I am such a fool. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.